first, since the thing is starting, and I don't know what the delay time is. I'm going to kind of stall a little bit, but I'm sure there's going to be in the video. Would you like to do the intro, or would you like me to? The stream is up, so it's good to go.
I'll let you do the honors.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm not very good at intros, as you guys know, but I have here today a live debate with Mr.Noobtubegamer against myself, and the topic is, of course, consoles versus PC. Mr.Noobtubegamer saw the video that I made on him, and decided that it would be a very progressive idea to perhaps do a civil debate. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm not that good at intros either. That's why I told you to go first.
Yeah, I suck at them, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty shitty at them. But if you guys don't know who I am, which I'd be very surprised if you weren't, my name is Mr.Noobtubegamer. I'm a well-known console peasant on the internet, but I do make other videos, and I think you should check them out. But this video is going to be a debate with Bullet Barry. To those of you who are watching live on my channel, thank you for tuning in. This is definitely going to be an interesting debate. Hopefully it's not as bad as Trump versus Hillary. Hopefully it's a bit more civil than that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Here's what we'll do. During parts where you're talking, I'm just going to go into my microphone, sniff a little bit, and go, wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do. You cool with that?
Yeah, no problem.
No, I'm messing around. Okay. So, before we get into this, I wanted to talk about the video itself and why you made it, because that was one thing that I was almost a little bit...
Because Bullet Barry Care is a disaster. It's a complete disaster.
Okay. So, I want to say, no offense here, the video, when I started watching it, I had a little hope, and then it kind of got regressive. And please, forgive me, but...
no, you're not the only one holding this view. I saw, I went back at the video. It has, 11,000 views. It literally, I can't make this shit up. Let me get the exact number just so you guys have an idea. It's something like 25 likes and 1,500 dislikes. Something like that.
Right.
Yeah, so it's pretty... You're obviously not the only one who thinks that,
right.
So...
Okay, so the part that got me, the part that got me was not the mid part of the video, is the very start when because my channel, what I'm trying to do is get all gamers, regardless of the platform, to come together and realize that facts are facts, realizations of this are important, and that we're just gamers. And I do this...
Right, and you felt like I contributed to more division. That's
well,
what you're trying
kind of, because at the beginning, here's
what you said. To a point, you're right.
At the beginning, here's what you said. You said that you wanted PlayStation gamers and Xbox gamers to come together to debunk the PC master race. And and I love the part where you said, let's get PlayStation gamers and Xbox gamers to come together. I love that. But then when you said, it just felt like you were teaming everyone up to hate. And that's where that bothered me. And again, I'm not trying to be rude, but I mean, that's the biggest problem that I think I had. And I would like for you to actually shine a little bit of light. Why did you make this video?
Because I felt like console gamers were misrepresented. I feel like it would have been a good thing to make that video. Obviously, I was wrong. I didn't expect... I obviously expected the PC fanboys to, leave all those dislikes, but I didn't expect it to be literally that bad, because I think even console gamers didn't like that video.
Right.
So obviously I did something wrong. But basically what I was trying to do in that video was try to, I guess, show the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But I will admit when I'm wrong. I obviously didn't do a good job doing that, because if I did do a good job doing that, it wouldn't have gotten 25 likes and 1,600 dislikes.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong, okay?
So
I do agree with the points I said. I just feel like the way I delivered them wasn't right. So I'm going to say that. I do agree with the points that I made, but I don't think my delivery was great.
And that's very big of you, and I thank you for that. So I wanted to talk about, because the video seemed very strong against the idea of PC elitists and console peasants. And I don't know if you know, but at least for me, my definition, and I'd like to give that to you real quick if you don't mind. Like I said before, a PC gamer and a console gamer, they're just gamers.
Right.
They're not anything more than that. However, if you jump into forums and spread misinformation about how your platform is better, that is what gets you this title of console peasant. And then on the other platform, if you belittle others, if you go into forums and say, well, you suck because you game on this platform and you don't game on the PC, that is a PC elitist. And I hate them both in different ways. But I just wanted to make sure that's the stance I come from, because a lot of people see the videos that I make kind of like on yours, and they're like, that's not a very nice word to use to describe someone. And I agree, it's not. But
Okay.
it's not depictive of the whole people, is the thing.
Just gonna, to anybody watching this, I'm going to say this right now. I'm not. People might think I'm like a horrible like console peasant that's just like, like beyond hope. But I'm gonna say it right now. I think the human eye can see above 60 frames per second. Because I know there are a lot of console gamers that are just like, people think I'm bad. There are people who are a lot worse than me that are like, oh, the human eye can only see 30 frames and all this like crap. I'm like, oh my god, I literally facepalm at that because it's just not true. It's completely false. Like, obviously, anybody who even watches a YouTube video in 60 frames knows that that's just fucking bullshit. It's a clear difference. So I'm not gonna try to do damage control, like saying that, I'm not gonna try to like use that argument because it's not a real argument. It's just bullshit.
Right. So actually, if I could go to my video real quick, I'm going to go to the video that I made, because there was, I scroll through it, the first point that you made. So the first point that you made was that you showed a picture, and you showed the necessary steps that it takes to play games on a console, and then you showed the necessary steps that it takes to play on a PC. And I use the word necessary steps very lightly because I'd like to go through these if you don't remember. For consoles, it was plug in the console, insert disc or download title, and then play your game. And then for PC, it was download Steam or any other digital distribution service, find the game.
And it was something about crashes, right?
Right. Make sure your PC can run the game, download the game, and then this cracked me up. Installs take longer on PC than console. Play the game, expect crashes, troubleshoot on Steam, get your issue resolved, and try again. I'm actually going to let you have first blow at this because I'm really curious as to your stance on this.
Okay, so my stance has adapted a little bit since, I've said that. I do feel I feel like I definitely exaggerated a lot when I said like, oh, there are so many more steps with, playing a PC game. I do think that is actually true to an extent because I feel like there are a lot more troubleshooting issues when you're playing on PC compared to like when you're playing on console. That's just from my experience. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but these are things you can't really necessarily prove with evidence. It's more like like real experience. It's not like something you can really prove. I just feel like, but the way I seen it, the way I've experienced it, I feel like it's a lot easier, it's a lot smoother to just play a console game than to play a PC game. That's just how I feel. Now, I don't necessarily think that, like when I talked about the insert disc and play, like thinking it's that simple, it's obviously, I was wrong about that, right? Because I mean, maybe that was the case for previous gen consoles, but the way current consoles are, at least with the PS4 and Xbox One, even if you get a disc, you still have to download it. I'm sure that's what you were gonna get at.
Well, actually, what I was gonna say, and this part still cracks me up to this day. On the PC part, it says installs take longer on consoles, and it's funny because it says download game, installs take longer. What cracked me up so much was it just. First of all, it doesn't harmonize, and then secondly, it doesn't make any sense if that's what he actually meant. Because I know you didn't make this picture, did you?
Make what picture?
The consoles, the necessary steps consoles and PC.
I did.
You made that?
I made that, yeah.
Holy crap, you made that?
All the images on that slide were made by me.
Really? Oh, yeah, crap, then I was wrong.
It was a quick 5-second Microsoft Paint job.
Wow, I was very, very wrong. Okay, so here's the thing. I said in the video that it was quite funny that you found the most cancerous pictures on Google and used them as your research.
Nope, I created the cancerous picture.
Wow.
I created it, yeah.
That is, okay, so here's my point on this. I looked at the picture and thought it was very biased, and I actually went to a point where I changed the picture to favor PC because it was actually that simple when it comes down to it. And the way I changed it, I put plug in console, find a game, insert disc or download title, expect crashes, play your game, troubleshoot, get your issue resolved, try again, and then for PC, download game, play game. And the reason I did that was not to be like, oh, haha, this is easy, PC must be better. It was to show how easy it was to make such a biased feeling point. Because as most of us can attest as playing on PC, the way that it was set up is not really how we play our games at all. The only times I've ever experienced crashes in games were in Shadow of Mordor. When I first got it, it would not load up. I had to troubleshoot that and get it fixed. And then Gary's Mod. When I load too many assets into the game crashes. And that's the engine's fault, not particularly the platform. And I experience, I think, because I had my Xbox 360 and my PC for about the same time, I can honestly say I probably had about similar amount of hiccups on both platforms.
That's interesting, because I've always had the belief that people who say that, people who have played PCs and consoles and say that PC games have less crashes or have less issues than console games, I feel like they're playing themselves, because that's just not like my experience, and I don't think you're being genuine by saying, oh, PC games have less issues than console games, because we're talking about because I'm sure we're going to discuss this in detail throughout the debate, but you know how PC is obviously more advanced graphically than consoles, right? But that could also contribute to its downfall, because if you have all these custom things to do, then there's going to be a lot of issues as well compared to consoles. You know what I mean?
And yes, and as much as I can see that, the other thing that I was going to say was when it comes down to it, and I actually told this point a little later in the video, when it comes down to it, of course you can expect more crashes on the PC because there are tons more games. And with that, there are a lot of indie games that may not have been optimized that well, or don't run on the engine that they're supposed to be running on, and they crash.
A lot of it has to do with, like, if a game was made back when XP was out, and you're trying to play it on Windows 10, it usually doesn't work.
Yeah, it can work. You just got to go through a lot of steps to get it working.
Exactly, like the fact, you have to go through all these issues, and a lot of these old games are available on PS4 because backwards compatibility or all these remasters. So these are a lot of these games, like these old games that you have a problem running on PC, a lot of them at times are games that you can also play on the PS4. You know what I mean?
Right, but I will ask you this question, okay? Let's say GTA 4 is one of the games that has problems on Windows 10. So let's use GTA 4. Let's say GTA 4 does not work on consoles. What can you do about it?
Doesn't work on consoles?
It doesn't work on your console. Yours in particular. What can you do about it?
I mean, that's personally never happened to me at all. I don't know.
I know. I'm just saying. What could you do? What are the necessary steps you could take to resolve that issue?
I guess you can contact the company. I don't know.
Right.
Because I don't know. The reason why I don't know is not because you've got me.
No.
I've never experienced this before.
Right.
I've never had it where a game has worked on everybody else's console but hasn't worked on mine. I've just never experienced that.
Right.
And that's why I prefer consoles, because you don't really experience that as much compared to PCs.
Right. Okay. Here's the point.
I know the point you're trying to make. I know you're trying to say it's a lot easier to. Oh, you have a lot more options to resolve an issue on a PC compared to consoles, because
you did know where I was going. Yes.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going on this, but I just don't feel like that's right.
Well, okay, maybe it's not, but the analogy's still there. When it comes down to it, if you have a problem with your console playing some sort of game, there's only so many things you can do, and that's not your fault. That's not your fault at all.
No, I'm not saying.
When it comes to a closed system, and it's not meaning anything by this, but the console is child-proofed. It's not supposed to be tampered with. Whereas if there was a game that's not running well or doesn't run at all on the PC, that's something you can fix yourself without having to call someone, without having to go try and get a different game. Maybe yours is scratched. It's not an issue that you're going to have to perpetually deal with. It's one that you can fix yourself.
I understand your point. I'm just saying, the thing about issues on PC games is that it's usually not as easy as just clicking one thing and it's fixed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if there's an issue on a PC game, like, and because the thing is, there's a lot more instances where there a game doesn't work on your PC, but it works on other people's PCs compared to games that, don't work on your console but works on everyone else's console. You know what I'm trying to get at?
I see. No, I definitely do see what you mean.
Yeah.
Because, well, right. I definitely do see what you mean. The analogy was simply there to illustrate that if
right.
and when.
I'm just saying consoles being more simplistic, I guess you could say, could be a lot of, there could be a lot of cons to that, but there could be pros to that too. And that I think that's one of them. The fact that you experience a lot less issues in games compared to PC.
So let's take it with something that did actually happen with a lot of people. During the 360s era, there was a lot of red ring of death problems.
Yeah, there were.
There were.
Mm-hmm. And when it came a lot of yellow lights on the PS3.
Right. And when it came down to it, there was not a ton that you could do to fix that. However, if your PC breaks down, there is something you can potentially do. The illustration is not that we can always fix our stuff. It's that we do have that ability.
I understand what you're trying to get at, but I guess I can counter that by saying, well, you can always get your console repaired, right?
Well, of course, you could always get your PC repaired. You have that option to you as well.
Right. No, but I'm saying it's not like there's absolutely no option.
No, and I wasn't saying that at all.
Okay,
right.
No. I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth. I'm trying to understand your point. That's all.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, this is civil discussion, like you said.
Let's get mean. I hate you. How about that? What do you have to say about that? I'm messing around. I don't hate you.
Wrong.
That was good. Okay. So,
wrong.
Do you think that it's about time we move on to the second argument?
Sure. Let's go ahead.
All right. So this one, your next argument, was that there were more reported crashes on PC than on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now, I would go into this, but I got to ask you, why did you pick the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? That was, what did you say, a year and a half ago you made this video?
Because they're the most recent consoles, and it's more relevant to compare the Xbox One or PS4 to the PC compared to, like, I don't know, comparing a PC to a PlayStation 2.
Right, but then...
You know what I mean?
It becomes illegitimate, doesn't it, though?
What do you mean? Oh, because you're saying there are multiple generations of consoles? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Well, no. So get this, okay? The first thing is that, as I've stated before, PC has millions more games than consoles have combined.
I
mean,
that's because anyone can make it. I can make a PC game tomorrow.
Exactly. Right.
And it's considered a game. It might not necessarily be good. It might not be of quality, but it's still considered a game.
With that means that game could potentially crash. Software does. It happens, right? That is a software that could crash that your hardware, your Xbox, does not get to receive that crash on. So it wouldn't have that problem. Secondly, the consoles are not as old as PC, and Google has a backdated history. So we would have had crash search results from years earlier.
That data was not accurate, but I still do hold the belief that if you're playing an identical game on a PC compared to a console, you're going to experience more issues on the PC version because everyone has different graphics cards, everyone has different whatever. So there's going to be more issues. It's unique to the person. One person can run it completely fine, no problem whatsoever, but another person necessarily won't. And I know you're probably gonna refute that by saying, well, that can also happen on a console, right? Because if your game can crash on the consoles and you can have a whole bunch of issues, but I feel like it happens a lot more frequently on PCs compared to consoles because all these different settings and whatnot. I know you're gonna refute that by saying, well, PC having more options makes PCs better, but like I said, consoles being simplistic, there could be a lot of pros to that, like I'm trying to say.
I'm not saying that there are no pros to consoles. I definitely think that there are.
I know. I'm just trying to make my case,
Okay, so then the third rebuttal I have here is that when a game does crash on PC, like you just said, we know that we can fix our problem. So with that, of course, there's going to be more Google results because as a console gamer, I wouldn't know to look up the problem. I mean, I could, but normally when a game or the system crashes, I just take it in to get it fixed instead of going and trying to resolve my own issue. So, of course, there were always going to be, that point was always going to lean heavily on the PC side.
That's because usually if a game crashes on a console, it's usually a hardware issue, not a software issue.
Well, right.
So you can't really say that it's the games, you know what I mean? It's usually the hardware. But you can get the hardware fixed, you know what I mean? But the thing is with PC, there are hardware crashes and software related crashes.
Are you saying that there's no hardware crashes and software crashes on consoles?
Well, the thing is, like I said, usually when there are crashes on console games, it's usually you have a defective unit, you know what I mean?
Right.
Compared to like PCs, where like, okay, you can have a defective PC, I guess, but usually it's related to software issues that aren't present in the console.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I do. Definitely see where you're going there. The thing is, and the point was when you said that there were more reported crashes on PC than the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Right.
You used an argument that was obviously true.
Right.
So if it were to be, and I use this example in my video, my neighbor has more grass than I do, it would make sense that he uses more water. I would not even think otherwise.
Okay.
So with that, why did you pick the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? Instead of picking a console that had a longer lifespan and then take that lifespan, that amount of years, and compare it to a similar amount of years on a test PC. That way you could have had equal data. They would have matched up and you would have known for certain, instead of coming to an argument that you knew would, I mean, obviously it was heavily leaned against PC. It would have been regardless. So yeah, that's why I asked the question.
I see where you're getting at, and like I said, I did admit that the data wasn't necessarily accurate. I think I admitted that a few minutes ago, right?
Right. Yes.
When we first started getting into it. So yes, I do admit the data wasn't necessarily accurate, but I still feel like it's still true. No matter any way you slice it, even if you take all the consoles compared to PC, it's still going to be the same thing. Like, right. if you take PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, whatever the hell, if you take them all together, I think you'll still have less crashes, all of them combined, than on a PC. The only reason why I used the Xbox One and PS4 wasn't necessarily because I knew, oh yeah, I'm instantly gonna win this argument. It was more because of the idea that PS4 and Xbox One are the relevant consoles in this debate. I'm not necessarily looking at PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2 in this argument, really, because they're not they're out of date, and no new games are out on those systems. So I feel like it wouldn't really do anything to bring those systems up. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Because I feel like when people talk about platform wars, people don't still talk about PlayStation 3 versus Xbox 360. So why would I talk about PS3 and 360 versus PC like now? You know what I mean?
Well, again, I would have. When it came to that certain point, I would have tried to find a strand of time where I could have said, in a year, the PlayStation 3 or 4 crashed this many times with my system. In that same year, my PC, list the specs, crashed this many times. Just so then instead of just saying, and I'm like, not a huge deal, but instead of just saying, I know for a fact that the PC has more crashes because of this.
Right.
It was just one of those things like, I'm trying to think of something like, I know the sky is blue because of this. Like, it's
you need to
not
understand
refutable.
The data I got came from me, and it didn't come from an established institution.
Right.
So I think everybody's aware of this. I didn't try to hide that. I didn't try to say this study is just as valid as other studies that are real.
I never even switched the screen. I feel bad. I hear you. Okay. So I'd like you to talk about your third point then. Affordability. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
In this point, you talked about release date consoles, but I think what you might do is you might talk about the price of the consoles now, and I think that's fair if you do decide to do that. But your main point was you cannot build a powerful gaming PC. At the time, you said for $400. Expand
and
on that.
now it's $50 cheaper.
Right, $350. Expand on that, please.
Okay, you can't make a PC. You can't build a PC or whatever that's cheaper than $350 that will run as good as those consoles and will actually last you a long time, like beyond like a year, and you'll have to upgrade it instantly.
How do you know that?
Because it just makes find one right now.
I actually have built 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
How much did they cost?
The first one cost $417. The second one was around $382. The third one was around $400. I think it was $420. They were all around that price. And
those are still more expensive than $350.
They are. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not trying to like,
no.
Delegitimize your point.
You're not.
Saying.
I made a video a while ago talking about the specs of the PlayStation 4. And what I did was I found PC parts that would equate to the PlayStation 4. And this, ideally, was to show how much the PlayStation 4 would cost if you were to try to build it yourself with PC parts instead of their own parts. Right. And what you'll end up doing is you will actually end up building a more powerful computer for $380. It will be almost a generation more powerful than the PlayStation 4, only because they do not sell parts that weak anymore. And yeah, I know that sounds rude, but the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are some of the cheapest or weakest consoles that have yet to come out. And
so let me just get this straight. What you're saying is that like building a powerful PC might be a little more expensive than consoles, like a couple bucks more expensive, but it's like far more powerful, so it's worth it. Is what you're saying, right?
No. Here's the point I want to make. Okay, you said that you cannot build a powerful gaming PC for $400. That's what you said in the video. I will say that you might be right, but then again, I could also say that you cannot buy a powerful console for $400, because if you're going to use the word powerful,
yes, you can.
Powerful, then you need to be specific on what powerful means. Because when it comes down to it, I can and have built a computer for $400 that played even the newest games. Fallout 4 was the one I tested at 1080p 60 FPS, which frame rate alone is already better than what consoles put out.
Well, the thing about this discussion, it's a little more tricky since you have the PS4 Pro and all this other stuff.
That's very true. If you'd like to talk about those, I could as well.
Okay, so I feel like, I don't really agree with the whole, idea of having a console in the same generation that's more powerful. I just think that's stupid. I don't think the Scorpio and the PS4 Pro are something that I personally would buy, but there's obviously a market for it.
Right.
It's probably a niche market, but there's a market for it. And I think they're trying to cater to PC gamers in that way. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea because, honestly, if I had to choose between a PS4 Pro or a Scorpio and a PC, I'd just get the PC. I'm just saying that right now.
Right.
But I feel like if you're going to have discussion in terms of like, which is going to be more affordable in terms of power, you have to include the PS4 Pro in the mix.
Okay.
The Scorpio
so how much is the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox Scorpio going to be?
Okay, well the PS4 Pro is coming out. I believe it's coming out early next month, and it's going to be $400, like the original price of the PS4.
Okay.
So it's going to be a $50 difference in price, from the PS4 to the PS4 Pro, and it's going to be I believe it's not native 4K, but I think it's like I know it has 4K capabilities, right? And basically, it's supposed to be more powerful than the original PS4. I think it's gonna have better frame rates and stuff like that. Like basically the stuff that PC gamers have complained about consoles lacking. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know it's not necessarily. People still say it's not powerful enough. I can't really be the judge of that because I don't own a PS4 Pro. It's not even really out yet, so you can't really make a valid test on that at this moment. But we can have this discussion again a month from now, and it'll be more,
right,
valid.
Because when it comes down to it, if I were to, let's say the Scorpio, how much did you say that was going to be priced at?
Okay, so Microsoft didn't reveal a price point for the Scorpio yet, but it's rumored to be around $600.
Okay. See, $600 gives you more than enough room to even get a 10 series card.
I just get a PC at that point. That's my personal opinion.
Right.
Like if you're talking about $600, but I will say the Scorpio is supposed to be a lot more powerful than the PS4 Pro.
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard as well. I heard the PlayStation 4 Pro is
it's supposed to be native 4K.
Mm-hmm. At 30 FPS.
It's supposed to run at what FPS? 30.
30. 4K at 30, 1080 at 60, and I think that was I think that was the rumors that came out
for the Scorpio, right?
Yeah, 1080 at 60 or 4K at 30 for most games.
It's tricky because like it's at the point where it's supposed to they didn't really reveal too much about it. It's coming out it's supposed to come out the end of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we can't really. I mean, we can speculate about it, but we don't really know. I just personally, I'd be surprised if it was worth $600 because we all know what happened to the last console that was priced at $600. How successful it was at first.
Okay, so let's say it was though. Let's say it was $600. You said that you would just get a PC at that point because at that point, that's enough to overpower the console. Is that what you're getting at? It's enough to already overpower the console and just render it useless, or why would you choose to get a PC at that point?
Not necessarily because PCs are more powerful. It's just because I think it's stupid to buy. If I already own an Xbox One, to buy another Xbox One that just can run 4K. You know what I mean? I just get a PC at that point because the Scorpio can run. It's an Xbox One that can do 4K. That's all it is. It's not the new generation. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's say you didn't have a console or a gaming PC at this time, and you were given $600.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do? Would you get a PC or would you buy that console?
I'd probably get the PC because the console, I mean, you could tell the consoles probably have the current consoles probably have 2 years like maximum left.
Right.
They're coming out with these consoles to try to extend the life of the current generation. But I mean, being like realistically, I wouldn't waste my money on the console because I knew a new one would come out the next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily because I think PCs are going to be more powerful and I'd get my. I mean, I do think I would get my money's worth getting a PC, but that's only because PCs don't have generations.
Right. So
and
how long?
I just think it's stupid with the whole Scorpio thing, in my opinion. But I do think it will appeal to some people, but who knows?
How long do you think a $400 PC would last you playing video games? How long do you think that would last you? If, like I told you, it played at medium. It played at medium settings at Fallout 4.
On every game.
But
right.
it played medium high at GTA 5, but medium low on Fallout 4. 60. I tried to get it to 60 every time. How long do you think a $400 with that capability would last someone? Do you think that they'd have to upgrade every couple years, or do you think that could actually last them for quite a while?
I mean, GTA 5 and Fallout 4 are very recent games. And you said medium low for Fallout 4, right?
Yes.
I assume that's because it's a much bigger game than GTA 5, obviously.
I think it's because Bethesda made it, and Bethesda's kind of crap.
I won't deny that. I like Fallout, and I was thinking about getting the Skyrim Special Edition.
Yeah.
But I do agree with that. That Bethesda, God, a lot of the shit that they do is just, like they come out with buggy messes all the time. And I think that's something they need to work on. You know, people try to defend Bethesda saying, "Oh, well, it's because it's such a big game," but I don't think that's an excuse. I know this isn't a Bethesda debate, but I just wanted to include that.
No, go for it.
So we were talking about Bethesda, like the $400 PC that was medium low on Fallout 4 and medium high on the GTA 5.
Yes.
I don't think it would last too long because usually, like, it's ideal for modern games to like run on high. Isn't that true? Because if it's on medium, that means that it's on the edge of it. You know, it's only one step above low, and low setting looks like shit.
Well,
right?
So normally, what we base our graphics on is medium low to medium high. Somewhere in between there is normally what graphic settings consoles run at this generation at 30 FPS. So if you're running at that at 60, you're still doing very well. Mm-hmm. With that.
But do like PC game requirements necessarily reflect what the consoles are capable of? I don't think they do they?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so like, you know how PC games have minimum requirements and recommended requirements, right?
Yeah,
Do those requirements? I don't think those requirements are necessarily a reflection on what the consoles can do. It's
they are.
independent of it, isn't it?
They actually are, but in a very very different way. When
Hmm.
you have a closed architecture, similar to like let's say Apple, the reason that they can have the anemic hardware that they can have inside their phones is because and make them run so well is because they optimize their phones very well. Same with their computers. They're only
Right.
running 1.8 gigahertz in their machines, and yet they're speedy quick. When it comes down to it, if you're making a game for PC, you can only go so far with optimization. And though it could be better, you can only still go so far. Whereas on consoles, you have a little more room to tweak because it's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to have any more RAM next year. You're not going to have a faster hard drive next year. I mean, you could with the PlayStation 4 change the hard drive. But you know what I'm getting at. The processor, the graphics card, they're all going to stay the same until you get a new generation.
Okay, so get this one. Okay, so before we recorded, I was discussing like my shitty fucking Alienware, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Saints Row 4 came out 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to run it ultra setting, no lag, nothing, and that was in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't run Call of Duty Ghosts.
Excuse me?
Could not run Call of Duty Ghosts.
Call of Duty Ghosts looks like crap, though. How's that possible?
I have no idea.
Okay, see, that could fall into optimization.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'm just saying, like, like I feel like because I don't know, somehow it didn't meet the requirements. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Saints Row 4 I was able to run it ultra, like no lag. I mean, I think I had to lower it once because it was overheating because it's a fucking laptop, obviously.
Right.
But I was able to run that. I was able to run what was that game? Back in 2013, it was Call of Juarez, the newest one. It was a really good game.
Yeah.
I was able to run that ultra, no problem. But somehow I couldn't run Call of Duty Ghost. I don't know. I mean, you could say, oh, that's Activision's fault. It probably is Activision's fault.
Probably
because,
is.
I mean, there are not too many people play Call of Duty games on PC, and that's probably for a reason.
It's because, firstly, they don't have FOV sliders that work until recently, and secondly, their optimization is kind of garbage unless you're running a very, very nice system because they think for some reason you have to have the latest specs. And I think the problem with
I never understood that really. How come, like, if PC gaming has more capabilities, which I'm not denying, obviously that's the truth. I'm not trying to say that
right.
Consoles are more advanced machines than PCs because I know there are people who actually are going to say that.
Right.
I'm not that kind of person. But like, it just confuses me why developers decide to have shitty PC versions but amazing console versions. You know what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're trying to say, and it's not exactly that.
And I don't even know if you can answer it because it makes no sense to you, I'm sure.
What do you mean?
Like why like games have shitty PC versions but good console versions?
You're talking about ports.
Yeah. Like why is the PC version shitty if PC gaming is supposed to be, like games are supposed to be a lot more advanced.
That is the thing that we were talking about a second ago. That is the exact thing where optimization is one of the most important things for video games regardless of the platform. If you remember Assassin's Creed Unity, that was not running well on consoles nor PC for a very long time.
No, it was not.
And the reason it wasn't was because Ubisoft, throughout a game, did not care about stabilizing the frame rate, did not care about lowering the resources for the NPCs walking around, the buildings loading in.
It was a huge AAA open world game that was released once a year. Like, it was destined for disaster. And that's why a new one didn't come out this year, because they finally realized that.
Right. But the problem was they just did not optimize. And that came out on all systems. Now, when it came to Batman Arkham Knight, Warner Brothers did the same thing and screwed over a lot of PC gamers.
They outsourced it to a different developer, I think.
Right. They did not optimize.
It wasn't even Rocksteady that made it, the PC version.
Right. You could have the most powerful PC in the entire world. Let's say you had 3 Titan X's, okay?
And it could be optimized poorly, and it's going to run like shit.
If it's optimized poorly, and it doesn't matter what PC you have, and it doesn't matter what console you have, if it's not optimized, it's not going to run well. So when it comes down to it, when developers do that...
There's sometimes, though, when it runs, when it's better optimized on consoles than PC. I don't know why that's the case. I'm not trying to...
No, I get you.
This isn't really a part of the debate. It's just something I'm trying to figure out.
Right, no, and I get that, and that's actually where I'm getting to is... when you have that closed architecture, the console, where nothing changes, okay?
Yeah.
You can optimize that for, let's say, okay, how about that? You're optimizing it for a year, okay? There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of variations of PCs out there that you have to optimize for when it comes to game development. So what they do is they normally pick a graphics card, one of the lowest ones. Let's go for like a 760, okay? So they optimize for that card and then work their way up so that any card below that is not going to run the game that well. If they don't optimize properly, then the whole game is not going to run well.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So that's why that happens. And when that happens, we get angry. We PC gamers get angry because the developers showed us that they don't care enough to optimize the game and actually like put forth the effort. And it allows people, for some reason, I don't know why they do this, console people who are really passionate about their platform to say, haha, our platform's better because we can run this game better than you, instead of being angry at the developer.
Right, but there are PC elitists that go haha when the console version runs like shit and the PC version is better.
And there definitely are, and every single one of them.
Sorry,
every single one of them are cancerous. Those kind of people do not progress anywhere, and they make us all look like fools, and that's why I do what I do.
So apparently my stream's running like shit. Like it keeps buffering. I don't know. That's kind of I don't know what to do about
It's probably still just catching up. It might just be catching up. If you experience troubles later on,
plays back on okay or no?
It should. And if it doesn't, I'll just give you mine.
All right. Projectile Parry says what's up to you.
Yeah, he's a good.
Apparently he's a big fan of yours.
He's a good kid. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to your third argument. We were on the second for quite some time.
I'm sorry.
No, that was. I mean, I'm having a great conversation, and I did not think I would say that when I first invited you here, but like when I started talking to you before, I was like, this is going to be great. Third argument is the better social experience. Okay.
Yes.
Better social experience. And before we move on, I just want to grab on that before you talk about streaming to Twitch or recording games. I need to get to the better social experience because this one, when people say this, it actually makes my blood boil.
Oh, sorry about that.
No. It's okay, but I'm going to tell you a story, okay?
Sure.
So please listen intently, and it might get rough, and if it does, nothing against you. I just hate when people say this because it actually really hits me. But here's what happened, okay? So my parents split up when I was 13, okay? We, at that point, my brother, my mother, and myself lived alone in a small house on a hill. And we had no money. There was nothing there. It took me 2 years before I developed enough money from odd jobs that I did around the area and collecting cans on the side of the road before I could buy a console. And all my friends at school said, get the Xbox 360. It's the best one. It has the greatest games, and you'll love playing with us.
Just for context, what year was this when you were 13?
The year was 2011?
2011.
No, God, no, not 2011. No, it'd be 2009.
Okay, so you're 2 years older than me.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm 2 years older.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I was 13 in 2011. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
So this is 2009. This is your story, right?
Yes. 2009.
Okay, continue.
My
Sorry
story.
to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Okay. So my friends tell me, get these games, get this system, and then play with us. And I was like, yeah, that's fantastic. Let's do this. So I go to the store, Black Friday. I get the last one. And I almost didn't get it. I bring it back home. I unbox it. I plug it in. And I start to play games because it came with a game. And I start to play games, and I'm playing it with my brother, and I'm having tons of fun. Well, the next day, I go to my friends, and they're talking about how much fun they were having playing their games together. And I was like, how can I do this? And like, you got to set up Xbox Live. And I was like, okay, that's not a problem. I set up my 30-day trial, and I'm playing with them. 30 days pass, and it asks me for a credit card.
Yeah.
Now, again, my family was extremely poor. Even before the whole split up, before the whole divorce, my family has always been poor. And
So why
to
didn't you
go
just
to
go
my
to
mother...
GameStop and get a card or whatever?
No. That's the thing. I didn't even have enough money. My mother didn't even have enough money. If I were to go to her and ask her and say, hey, I need $60 so I can play with my friends, that wouldn't fly. It wouldn't be able to. And I feel like a jerk for saying that because she put all of her money into feeding us, into making sure we were alive. And to say that consoles have a more social experience when Sony and Microsoft dictate you to pay online every single year only so that you can play games with your friends. They lock you away from your friends, and to say that it's a more social experience, that hurts me. It bothers me when people say that because they don't realize that there are people out there like me. I don't know how many people had to go through this who had to play single player games, go to school the next day, and hear all their friends talking about how much fun they were having, and I had to opt out because Sony and Microsoft are greedy.
To be fair, though, back in 2009, you would have been able to get a PS3 and play online.
And that's
for free.
very true. That's very true. And I am very aware of that. But
so don't get me wrong. I'm not like trying to try to delegitimize your story.
I hear you.
I'm just saying it might not necessarily be relevant compared to in 2016.
Right. Okay. But when it comes down to it, that was the console I got. I knew nothing about the consoles at the time. I actually, we were not, I didn't have any money. My first console was a GameCube, and it was passed down to us. And I had that for 8 years. My second console was an Xbox, the original Xbox, and I had that for years until I finally gained enough money and I could buy a 360. And it took me like 2.5 years before I could do it. We were extremely dirt poor. But regardless, moving along, I didn't realize how angry I was about this until later on when I got PC and I was playing a video game with my friend. And I was asking him, how are we playing games together? And he goes, gaming on PC is free. I was almost brought to tears because I didn't realize that was a freedom that I was allowed to do. That was something that was not locking me out. And that itself didn't hurt me. It was later. Sony and Microsoft, a lot of people say Sony and Microsoft use that $60 so they can host servers, so that they can keep the servers up for games. That's not true in the slightest. If you're playing a Call of Duty game or a Grand Theft Auto game, you know who hosts those servers? It's not Sony and Microsoft. It's Rockstar.
It's the company.
It's Activision.
Yeah, it's the company that develops.
What does that money go to? It's pocketed. So not only did they lock me out, but they locked me out because they were selfish. And then to have the audacity to say that consoles are a more social experience when you have to fork over money to play games to buy your friends, it's ridiculous. And Sony and Microsoft should be ashamed of themselves for implementing something like that. It's anti-consumer, and I can't believe people actually defend that. But
so we are getting into a different debate here. You're talking about the price of Xbox Live. You're not necessarily saying that, like, this doesn't necessarily relate to consoles being less social than PC.
It does,
I'm just
though.
Trying to.
If I can't afford Xbox Live, how am I supposed to be social on Xbox?
That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that Xbox is less social just because they charge to play. I don't understand what you're trying to get at.
The point is,
how does that mean it's less social just because they charge?
There are people.
That's not a reflection on. That doesn't mean that Steam's a better service. Is what I'm trying to get at.
I'm not saying that Steam is a better service. I'm not bringing up Steam at all. What I'm saying, however, is that when it comes down to it, Steam is free. Regardless, it was brought up, but there are people out there, and you can't pretend there are not people out there who have to stick to single-player games, and the more and more there are games going more towards multiplayer instead of single-player. So people like me, who were dirt poor and could not afford to play games with their friends, they have to not only opt out of video games that they can't play, but they also opt out of playing games with their friends. It's restrictive.
And I think this goes into a bigger problem. Gaming in general is very expensive these days compared to 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's not just playing online. Even if you buy a full price game, you still got all this other bullshit, DLCs, microtransactions, all this shit. I think gaming in general is a hard hobby to maintain if you don't have if you don't have the funds to support it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's a big. I think you're kind of like touching into a bigger problem relating to gaming in general being expensive. But I don't know. Like, I just feel like I don't think it necessarily means that the consoles are less social, just because you can't afford it. Doesn't mean that other people can't. You know what I
What
mean?
if you couldn't afford it?
What
Let's
if I
say
couldn't afford it?
you couldn't play games with your friends. How do you call that a social experience?
For the people who are using it, it's more social.
Oh my
For the people
God.
who can't afford it.
Right, right. But that's not about them. It's about you. You bought a console, and then you are arguing that it's more a more social experience. So with that, let's say you
Okay,
could not
but
afford Xbox Live. How is that more social?
if you can't afford, like, okay, I'm gonna try to not sound as least offensive as possible.
Okay.
I'm not trying to, say anything bad about you. Or I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just trying to make a point here.
I hear you. Please say it. Please.
Okay, so if you can't afford to pay $60 a year, which I know a lot of people can't, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to say anything. If you can't afford to pay $60 a year on online every year, how can you afford to build a PC?
Because you're buying it for the same price as the console?
You don't buy it at the same price as the console.
5 of my friends have.
Okay, but it's kind of tricky because back then it was the Xbox 360 and now it's the Xbox One, so it's a bit different.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
It is,
Right.
isn't it?
PCs have evolved a ton the past 10 years. You're right. They have progressively gotten more lenient when it comes to money. They're cheaper.
Okay.
But back then they were not. You're right. Okay, so take it this generation then. Or however you prefer.
Because
the question
you have
is,
to admit, like when you were telling your story, you didn't take into account the fact that PCs were a lot less affordable back then, and again, PlayStation was free back then too. So like I'm not saying your story is like, I'm not trying to say anything about your story. I just
Right.
feel like it's not necessarily as relevant in 2016.
Here's the
it's
relevance.
changed a lot.
Here's the relevance.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
When it came down to it, I had a laptop that was given to me. It's a crappy little thing. I told you about it. It was the first game I ever played on that little crappy laptop that switched me over to PC gaming. I got on and played it with my friend. The graphics looked better. The game ran better, even on that crappy laptop. And I was just like, it's free. This is a better experience for free. And I'm not being locked out. But you never answered the question. But I mean, you did say that if you can't afford it, why game? But you said, why not get a PC? Or why get a PC? Here's the point. If I have a console, and let's say I paid $400 for it, if I have a PC, and let's say I paid $400 for it, in one of those scenarios, if I can only pay that initial amount, and then all the other games I got, let's say both, you get like all the games on console for free and all the games on PC for free, there's one thing that you're not going to be able to do on one of the platforms. On the Xbox or the PlayStation, you're not going to be able to play games with your friends. How can you? Because it's locked away.
That doesn't mean it's a better... That just because it's free doesn't mean the actual experience is better.
Ooh.
I can say that console experience is better because you pay for it.
That's been refuted just the other day ago. Have you seen Jim Sterling's video on that?
No.
Jim Sterling the other day had a video talking about how on console he went and he on the PlayStation 4 bought what's that game? The new Mafia 3.
Mafia 3,
and it took him 20 hours to download it. The service was slow because the PlayStation limits the amount of bandwidth it's allowed to absorb and like download the game. And it took him 20 hours.
Okay, what's his internet connection?
His internet connection is totally fine.
Okay, because not take me 20 hours to download games, I could tell you that.
Right, maybe not you, but a ton of people were having this problem. They still are. The bigger games get, the
that
longer
usually
it takes to
depends on
download.
your internet connection, though. It's not necessarily the game. You know what I mean? It's usually your internet.
To a degree. What he was saying, the PlayStation...
I mean, I'm not saying he has dial-up. I'm just saying, like, his internet probably isn't great.
The PlayStation limits the amount of bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
It only allows so many megabytes per second. Regardless as to how fast your internet is, it's going to be data capped.
Right, but what I'm saying is that it's not going to be 20 hours for everybody. It's probably going to be a lot less for some people.
Right.
So I don't know if his experience is necessarily reflective on consoles in general, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Then I will not cover more into that. I would just say, after the video, this is done, I would recommend watching that video. It's really well made and has a lot of good points.
Okay, fine. I'm just saying if I don't think one person's experience is reflective on.
Well, it was
all
reflective
consoles.
of a ton of people.
Okay. It took everybody who played Mafia
Not
3 took
everybody.
them 20 hours to download.
Not everybody, but everybody seems to be having a problem. Everybody does seem to be having a much more of a problem downloading games because they keep getting bigger.
Okay.
When it comes down to it, if you have a PC, you're not limited on the amount of bandwidth. On a console, that is another thing that is dictated. And I'll say dictated because I don't like Sony and Microsoft. And essentially what they are is they are tyrannical. They have been for a very long time. Especially when you take that $60, again, and look at it as you're pocketing that annoys me.
Okay,
So,
I'm going to make one thing very, very, very clear. So I'm sure a lot of people watching the stream are going to get the wrong idea of me when I'm trying to defend. They think I'm defending the fact that it costs money. I actually made a video. I'm sure you're aware. Last month, Sony announced that the PlayStation Plus went from $50 to $60.
Yep.
I was the first person who made a video criticizing that, saying that's fucking bullshit. Like, why are they raising the price? Especially since the free games that are on the PlayStation, the Xbox One, are absolute shit. I'm just saying that right now. They're fucking shitty.
And not free.
Yeah, like, they're not free because you need to have the subscription, obviously. I'm sure that's what you mean.
Yeah, well, right, yeah.
So, look, I'm the first person that criticizes these companies for charging a huge amount of money just for, to the online, especially if they raise the price. Like, I think that's even worse. Like, okay, if you have a set price, that's one thing, but if you actually raise the price, like, that's shitty, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that just because something costs money doesn't mean that the free version is a better experience just because it's free, is what I'm trying to get at. It's like, if you get McDonald's, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a better experience. It's cheaper than a fucking $20 sirloin steak. You know what I mean?
However, okay, and I totally get what you're saying there. However, when it comes down to it, a lot of people, even for consoles, tons of people will say that the experience has dropped a ton and actually is easier on the PC. With that, why are we paying $60 for this service that is suckier than a free service? How would you feel about that?
I understand what you're getting at, because actually this is going to be one of my stories now.
Okay.
The first time I played online ever was on the PS3 back in, like, when I first got it. I think it was like my 11th birthday I got the PS3. And that was the first time I played online, because I know you were able to play online the PS2, but it wasn't really that good.
Right.
It wasn't, and I know Xbox Live had, on the original Xbox, but I didn't have an original Xbox. Point is, like, this is the 8th generation, right? So the 7th generation was when online gaming was really like good, and it wasn't shit. So, like, PS3 was the first time I ever actually played a game online. And I had an Xbox 360, but because they were charging for Live, I didn't get it yet. PS3 was free. So yeah, no, I can relate to it when you're talking about, not being able to play because it costs something. Like, I used to be like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, I'm on Steam and I'm on PlayStation and it's better than Xbox Live, because last generation that was not the case.
Right.
I was playing on PlayStation Network and it was shit. It wasn't that good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I was able to play online with my friends and it was free, but I think Xbox Live was better.
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm not, again, like, I'm not trying to discredit you, but the point I'm trying to make is that just because something is free doesn't mean it's better.
And I totally
most
agree.
Of the time, that's not the case.
I totally agree with that. However, in this case, you can almost say objectively that is the case. That the PC offers a better experience for free. And that is why people are so upset recently, and especially myself, about the $60 that they force on you, or else you can't play games with your friends. And I think regardless as to how you look at it, justifying it just feels wrong. Because even if they are using that money...
When Sony increased the price, there were countless fanboys were defending it. I was not among them. I'm just making that clear to anybody watching this. If you don't believe me, I actually made a video last month when it happened, so I'm not just making up bullshit. That's actually the stance I had. I was completely against Sony for doing that. I'm not a big fan of Sony. I'm not a big fan of Microsoft. People might make the impression of me based on my PC gaming videos that I'm loyal to Sony or loyal to Microsoft. That's just not the case. Right. I'm not loyal to any of them.
And that's good.
I'm not even loyal to consoles.
Right.
I'm not. It's just at this moment I prefer consoles over PC. And if you look at my older videos, there was a point where I preferred PC over consoles. So it changes.
Yes. And I actually don't have a problem with that. I have a ton of people comment in my videos all the time saying, hey, I play on console. And I'm like, there is nothing wrong with that. At all.
Like I didn't come into this debate to try to convince you consoles are better. You didn't come to this debate to convince me that PCs are better. Our objective in this debate isn't to convince each other, because we know that's not going to happen. Like, realistically, it's not going to happen. That's not how debates work. Anybody who's come out of debate being like, you know what, the other person was actually right, like, that doesn't happen. But the reason why I decided to do this debate is just to provide more context, into the whole PC versus console debate, I guess, and to try to like get people to see where I'm coming from, because I feel like the way I delivered, my cases weren't really that good. So I just wanted to include that there, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a bad impression of me saying I'm loyal to Sony and Microsoft. I'm a corporate slave, when really I'm not. Like, I'm the first person to criticize Microsoft and Sony, probably more than any console gamers. So I don't know if you classify me in your definition of a console peasant, but I don't know.
That's not really up for me. I don't typically classify people as console peasant. I always see...
I mean, you do in your videos.
That, right, but when I do it, I always say that these people are not memes, they're not jokes, they're people. And they just have...
You're not like that other person that,
Yeah.
shall not be named.
Right.
That has an obsession with dogs.
Oh my god. Okay, so the next thing you said was that streaming to Twitch and recording games is a lot easier on consoles.
Yeah.
Please, all yours. I think I hogged the first one, or the last one, so you take this one.
Okay, so what's the point we're making again? Just to reiterate, so I know
so this actually fell into the whole better social experience, because when it comes to PC, you have to go download certain programs, or at least that's what you said. You have to go download certain programs in order to stream and record video games, and some of those programs are not free.
What I'm trying to make, if Steam was better than Xbox Live, you wouldn't need other programs.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's bad. I don't like that. There's a problem with that. When it comes down to it, I think that you're talking about your OS and I'm talking about my OS. Steam is not a part of your OS. That is a program that you download. So if you have a problem downloading Steam and talking about how it's not perfect, then you can't sit there and say that OBS, you have to download OBS, because then that doesn't allow you to do everything.
You can't really play too many games without having Steam.
You can. Have you heard of GOG? You play?
Okay.
Origin?
Don't most of these, like, other services, though, just like when you buy the game from them, they just give you Steam keys?
No.
That's usually what happens if you buy games like from other services. They give you Steam keys.
No.
Instead of their own
is a digital. It's not a digital. It's a DRM-free distribution. So there's no DRMs attached to it.
And every single game on Steam is available on GOG.
Well, yeah.
Every single game that's on Steam.
Right. Yeah. But it's for those people who don't want Steam. So, like, let's say you wanted The Witcher. I don't want to go through Steam. I go GOG, and it's just an icon on my desktop. It doesn't reroute you. It doesn't do anything. It's just an icon. That's it.
All right. Okay.
And then Uplay will just go through itself. Origin will just go through itself. Humble Bundle will normally go through Steam and Origin. And there are a bunch of different DRM-free areas you could go, a bunch of different DRMs you could go. Steam is not the only one. It's definitely the most popular and the most fleshed out, but it's not the only option for you. Definitely not. More people have told me that they prefer DRM free options than Steam. So, but that wasn't your point. Streaming to Twitch and recording video games is easier. That was your point.
It is.
That's amazing. You just go, it is.
That's not even, that's not even an opinion. It's just objective.
Yeah.
Easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll actually I'll agree. It is easier. That's but
you're gonna try to like, yeah, I know.
Well, no. I'm actually not gonna say that it's okay. So here's the problems that I have when it comes down to it. PlayStation 4 lets you record games for an hour. The Xbox lets you record games for 15 to 45 minutes, somewhere around there. On PC, whatever program you're using, whether it be DxTory, Shadowplay, Fraps, PlayClaw, or even the built-in recording software that comes with Windows 10, you can record for as long as you possibly want to.
There's actually a loophole to that. If you stream on, like, let's say Twitch or whatever, you can record for as much time as you want, and you can download that. You know what I mean? So there's actually a loophole around the cap. You can just stream it and then download it later.
That's true.
You can record for however long you want.
That's true. But then when it comes to Twitch, and you're streaming on Twitch, again, Sony, when it comes to the PlayStation 4, has limited the amount of bandwidth that you can use, so you can only output so much at a certain resolution and a certain quality.
Okay, but the argument I made is that it's easier.
Well, yeah, it definitely is easier. Definitely is. But with it being easier, it has its negatives. Everything has pitfalls.
Sure, everything. Look, PCs and consoles all have their pros and cons.
Yes, they do.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I mean, like, the reason why I decided to come to this debate, and the reason why I made all those videos, is to kind of show you that PC gaming isn't perfect, and that PC gaming has its flaws. You know what I mean? Like, when you say all these, pros that PC gaming has, like, a lot of them I can refute, but a lot of it I can't. You know what I mean? It's just, and look, if I bring up stuff about consoles, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, you really can't refute either.
Right.
It's all about look, everything has its pros and cons. I don't think, because the problem I have with PC gaming and the PC elitists is that they think PC gaming objectively is superior to consoles, and that's it. That's the whole thing. PC gaming's better just because it has better graphics, and that's all they really talk about. That's the problem I have. That PC elitists try to, like, shame people for playing on console and think that they're superior to
that's my
other
problem
people because they play on console. Like, get the fuck out of here.
No, that is my problem, and I totally agree.
It's just, that's the main problem. That kind of what fueled me to make these videos, not necessarily because PC as a platform, but because of the people that play on it.
Okay, so but you did say, and I'm
right.
curious about this. You did say that they say that the PC platform is superior, and you have a problem with that?
Not necessarily because they think it's superior, because I know what you're trying to get at, because I think consoles are better, right? So you're going to be like, well, you're no better than them.
What? No, that's not where I was going at all. That is not where I was going at all, actually.
Okay,
please,
interesting.
Please do not make me, because I'm not that kind of guy. The point I was making was,
when
do you
people
not
say, sorry, continue.
Do you not believe that PC is a superior platform?
I don't believe it's a superior platform.
You do not believe that it is a superior platform?
If I believed it was a superior platform, why the fuck would I come onto this
debate? Well, no, because that's the thing
is,
I have a lot of people in my comments tell me all the time that the PC is definitely, easily the superior platform. However, they prefer consoles only because they know that.
I'm not even saying superior, because that's just it's very saying the word superior is subjective in tone. You know what I mean? You can't say something.
Earlier you said the PCs were better.
I said they're graphically superior. I didn't say they're superior in general.
Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, because, oh, God, that's, wow, that's quite a thing.
No, because like objectively, yes, PCs graphically can handle consoles. You are better graphically than consoles.
The graphics, though.
That doesn't mean the PC in general is superior. No, but every other point you talk about with how PCs are better, I don't really agree with that. The only thing I really agree that PCs are better with is graphics. I don't think PCs are more affordable, which obviously they're not. I don't think PCs offer a better social experience. It's just there's so many things that people think are objectively make PC better when I can just say, well, I actually enjoy this better on consoles. That's the point of this whole debate, and that's the point of the videos I'm making. You know what I mean?
Right. In the one hand, someone could come to you with a fact, and you could say, well, I don't feel that way, and you rebuttal with an opinion. Do you feel that's fair?
Name one example where I rebuttal a fact with an opinion?
Name one example?
Mm-hmm.
Let me pick a good one. When it comes down to the affordability one, that one's easy. Affordability. You said just now that PCs are not. Obviously. You said obviously
it's a fact.
not.
I mean, it's a fact that it's more affordable
fact.
Because you can get the consoles. It is a fact. Look at the prices. You even admit it yourself. You said you built all these PCs, but they were still more expensive.
You can augment your own price when it comes to PC.
You will not find a PC that is cheaper than $350 that's more powerful than the...
What about on par? What about $350? Have you heard of the Potato Masher?
Okay.
That is a $350 machine. It's called the Potato Masher, and it runs GTA 5 at 4K 30 FPS at 1080p 60 FPS.
4K 30 FPS at 1080p 60 frames per second. That's interesting. Okay.
A 350. It's called the Potato Masher, and it has been very popular for over a year now.
How much is a 4K monitor?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. How much is your monitor? Did it come with the console?
No.
Well, then why is it fair to say that my 4K monitor... I could just use my monitor downstairs. I could just use my TV like you do.
Okay, but no. That's not right because I have a TV,
right.
But more people own TVs than 4K monitors.
Okay.
So the thing is, like, if you're going to get a console...
Yeah.
I never met any person that was going to get a console and like, oh, I need to get a TV first. That doesn't happen because people usually have it. It's one of those,
right?
Items that everybody has. Not everybody obviously has a fucking 4K monitor,
right? That wasn't the point. Okay, see, my friends that I built my PCs for, half of them use their TVs just like a console. They game with a controller, just like a console. The point of that was not to say that, oh, he has a 4K monitor. It was to say that this console, or this PC, at $350 has the ability to output 4K. It itself has the ability to.
That ability without shelling out extra money, so it's kind of misleading to say, oh...
What are you talking about? It was $350 flatline. Yes.
It's only $350, and you only need to spend $350 to be able to run the game at 4K, to actually be able to experience it in 4K.
Mother of hell.
That's misleading.
Okay,
That's misleading.
Then is it misleading to say...
misleading.
Okay, and I hate that we're doing this right now, but is it also misleading to say that the PS4 Pro is not going to come with a monitor, with a 4K monitor? Because that's the same argument.
But even if you're not playing 4K, even if you're not using 4K, it's still more powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you're not using 4K, it's still more powerful. That was the point.
Okay.
Right. Right.
I don't understand what you're getting at there. How is it more powerful? Like, no, because you're trying to advertise the whole 4K thing. That you're like, oh, it's 4K.
I wasn't trying to advertise. Okay, look. Here's what I was saying.
$350. That's
Here's what I was saying. You said, here we're going to go A to B. You said you cannot make a $350 PC that outperforms consoles. I told you about one, and then you brought up 4K.
Okay. No, because you brought up 4K. You said 4K.
I did. I said it had the power to. I did. I'm sorry.
You're trying to mislead it to say, oh, you only need to spend $350 to run it at 4K. Honestly, the whole thing with 4K is kind of irrelevant because most people don't even are capable of doing 4K.
Forget the 4K then. Forget the 4K. It makes you unhappy. Forget the 4K.
4K is fucking stupid. 5 years from now, we can talk about 4K, but now it's fucking irrelevant.
Oh my god, okay.
It's like talking about 1080p in 2001.
Okay. Get this, okay? GTA 5, 1080p, 60 FPS on a console, or not a console, I keep saying that's... Okay, on a PC, a $350 PC, it's running GTA 5 at high settings at 1080p, 60 FPS. It's called the Potato Masher. It exists, and it's existed for about a year. Now,
Okay.
you said you cannot do that. I refuted that point, and you said, I personally don't... What?
Wait, what?
You were saying earlier that you...
I don't know what you're
Buddy, I'm trying to work with you here. Okay, let's try this one more time.
Okay.
It's not you, it's me. I am not explaining it well, so it's me. Okay.
It is you, yes.
It is me. Okay, take it from the top. So, you have a console, $350.
Right.
Okay, and it runs games at 1080p, medium high settings, at 60 or 30 FPS. Generally.
That varies.
It does vary. It depends on the game.
But you're talking about the case of GTA 5 where it doesn't vary. Yes. Okay. Now I think I have a better idea of what you're saying. You're saying, okay, I think this is what you're saying. Okay, so it's $350, right?
Yes.
To run GTA 5 1080p 60
yes.
frames per second, and you're saying that on the PS4 or whatever, it's 1080p 30 frames. So that means that if you spend, you can spend the same amount and get a more powerful PC than the console. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Because you said that you cannot purchase a PC for that price that will outperform. And
okay, I'm gonna go back to the same thing I said. I'm gonna point at earlier. How much does a 1080p monitor cost?
Holy hell, dude! Do you have a TV when you buy a console?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Most people don't already have a monitor when they get a PC.
But you don't need a monitor. You can plug it into a TV just the same way.
It doesn't work that well. It doesn't work as well as having it on a monitor.
That does not make any sense.
That's true. Why do people use monitors?
No. They use monitors because monitors are more responsive because of the response time, and the refresh rate is normally better. That's why.
Exactly.
But
it has a higher response time. It's like if I was like, it doesn't make sense to
doesn't make any sense.
Say, oh, you can plug it into a TV. Yeah, but the fucking response time is shit.
No, because the response time is no. The response time is even better on the PC because you're playing at a higher frame rate, which it increases response time. That's how frame rate works. That's the point of it. Frame rate is not to make the game look better. It's to make it run better.
You just said you can plug in a TV, but you just admitted that the
TVs can run at 60. My TV downstairs runs at 60.
Okay.
It has a refresh rate of 60 hertz, and I'm sure yours does as well. With that, the monitor, the TV you're using, the output device does not matter. That's the point. It doesn't matter. What matters...
Did the PC you spent $350 on include a disk drive? No, it doesn't, right?
Well, it doesn't need to.
Okay, but the console does.
Okay. So...
If you can't put a CD into the PC, you can put it into a console, though.
What's the point of that?
You can put DVDs into consoles. You can't put them into this $350 PC. The point I'm trying to make is that automatically it has more shit that you can do on that console than on that PC.
Okay, and what if it did have a CD drive? They're only like $10.
Okay, so it'd be $360, wouldn't it be?
Okay.
So it'd be more.
Oh God.
Also, how much memory came with the $350 PC?
From what I remember, it had 8 gigabytes.
8 gigabytes.
Yes.
That's embarrassing. PS4 comes with 500 gigabytes, $350. So
of RAM?
The point I'm trying to make.
Of RAM? Did you just say that, dude? Did you just say that? Oh my God! Please tell me you did not just say it has 500 gigabytes of RAM.
I thought you said 8 gigabytes storage.
No.
How much storage?
You said RAM, dude.
I did not say RAM.
You did.
I never said RAM. That never came out of my mouth. Wrong. That never came out of my mouth.
Okay. Fine. Oh my.
I never said RAM. You're fucking hearing things.
Okay. Maybe I did. We'll go back and check later.
How much hard drive space is with the fucking $350?
It came
PC?
with a terabyte.
Oh, a terabyte.
Yes. 1,000 gigabytes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I know what a fucking terabyte is.
Okay, I'm not trying to be I'm not
terabyte.
trying to be mean, but like this is just like it hurts because I'm trying to like illustrate a point and then you keep moving to a different point and I'm like that's not where we're at. And it's just it's funny because like you're bringing up good points, but I'm trying to get to the one. The one point was you cannot spend $350 to get a more powerful or PC, and I just said you can, and then you said about the monitor. We're not talking about the monitor.
But you can't play like I don't know. You're fucking blind. You don't need a fucking monitor to play. You fucking Stevie Wonder or some shit.
Okay, fine.
You don't need a fucking
fine. How much did you pay for a monitor?
For a monitor.
Yes, for a TV. How much did you pay for a TV? You and I are going to get the exact same TV right now. How much did you pay?
Okay, I got it over 6 years ago, so
okay.
I can't really. I think it was something around like maybe like $400.
Okay.
For a TV.
You're going to spend $400 on the TV. I'm going to spend $400 on the TV. Okay, we have an equal TV. You're going to play your console on the TV. I'm going to play the PC on the TV. Okay?
Bullshit though, because running a console on the TV is a lot more smoother than running a PC on a TV.
That doesn't.
If it was more.
That doesn't make sense.
If you could just easily run a PC on a TV, then we wouldn't have these fucking console PC hybrid monstrosities
but
like the
Alienware. We do.
Alpha or whatever.
We do.
So
At any time.
What's the point of having these Steam machines then if you could just put a PC in and it's no problem at all? You could just put it on the TV, no problem.
Because, oh my god, because normally people want to have their computer in their room and then the Steam machine, or the Steam, oh, you're talking about the Steam machine or the Steam Link?
The Steam machine, like the Alienware Alpha and all these other fucking console PC hybrids.
Those were awful.
That you could just plug into your TV.
Why are we talking about those? Those are awful. I don't know what the point about that is.
The point I'm trying to make is why do they exist if you can just simply plug your PC? Like, what was the market supposed to be for those Steam machines? If you could just easily plug a PC in and it runs completely fine.
It was supposed to be for console gamers who wanted to move into PC without building one.
Because I plugged my PC into a fucking TV and like it was fucked up.
Look, here's the deal, okay? I know you keep refuting this and it's cracking me up, but dude, look, if I plug a PC, my computer,
this is another thing. How much is a mouse? How much is a keyboard?
5 cents if you go to Goodwill.
A fucking one that's practical, that doesn't crap out.
My first one was 5 cents. I went to Goodwill, got it for 5 cents. A keyboard and mouse hybrid bundle.
You can't game with a 5-cent fucking mouse.
Well, I did for 2 years. It was a ball mouse. You know those little dumb ball mouses? Yeah, I used that.
You can't game on that. No one games on that.
Well, no, nobody does because it's not.
Exactly.
But I did.
So, what I'm saying is you're being misleading because you're taking the console itself, or the PC itself rather, but the console comes with a controller. It comes with all the shit you need.
Yes, it does. Okay, and your console comes with a game. My graphics card came with a game. I spent 5 cents. So you got me on 5 cents. Look, here's the point, okay?
Bullshit. No one only spends 5 cents on a keyboard and mouse. That's just bullshit.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
You're the only person I've ever heard of that spends 5 cents on a fucking keyboard and mouse, and that's it.
Forget the keyboard and mouse. Forget it.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make is that you're misleading by saying, okay, it's only $350.
So what if it's even $365, okay? Let's say it's $365, okay? That's not the point. The point is, okay, if I plug my computer into my TV, or even a $350 one, into a TV, I will have a smoother experience because my game will run at a higher frame rate. A higher frame rate means more response time. So the second I hit that controller, my character is going to move, and the higher the frame rate you achieve, the faster that's going to happen. Whereas on consoles, you're stuck at 30. That chops that in half. Your response time is delayed as well as with the monitor that you're using, depending on your monitor's refresh time. And I say monitor because that means TV or monitor.
How does that refute my point?
Because you... Oh my god.
How does that refute my point? I'm trying to figure out how does that refute my point because
that point was that when you plug a console and a PC into a TV, you said that the PC will not run as smooth as the console.
Which is true.
Mother of hell. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna straight up die. Oh my god.
This is why we need to build a wall. I'm just saying.
Oh god. Okay, alright. We're obviously not gonna get anywhere with that one, but it was fun.
Okay,
No, it was straight up fun.
How much more topics do we have here?
Quite a few, actually.
Wow, and this debate's been going on for like at least an hour and a half. So we got a night.
Okay. You said in the next video, consoles have better exclusives. Now, you took the last one, so I'm going to take this one.
Sure.
Okay. So, what I hate the most is when someone says, hey, we have Halo. Because I can say, okay, we have Crysis. You say, oh, well, we have Red Dead Redemption. Okay, well, we have Star Citizen. Like
Crysis isn't a PC exclusive, but continue.
Crysis Wars and Crysis Crysis Warhead and Crysis Wars were. Those never came to console.
How recent are those games?
Those games were made right after Crysis 1.
Never heard of them, but okay, continue.
They're just as awesome. I love them. Anyway, regardless. And anyone from PC could say, hey, I really wish I could play Red Dead Redemption, or anyone from console could say, hey, I wish I could play Arma 3, right? It doesn't... But the thing is...
Okay, continue.
When it comes down to it, this argument is stupid because it's subjective, but when it comes... The objective thing you could say, in my position, is MOBAs, strategy games, real-time strategy games, standalone mods and fan-made sequels to AAA games like all the Mario games that people remade and remastered, and indie titles, walking simulators. These are just the few genres, not games, genres that you miss out on when you're playing on console.
Okay, but you do have to give Sony and Microsoft some credit because this generation they've been allowing a lot more indie developers to make games.
They definitely have, but the problem with that, actually, it's not that they've allowed. Here's the biggest problem. You could have potentially every single game that comes to PC, but Sony and Microsoft don't allow you to. Here's the thing. If I make a video game and I want it to come to consoles, I have to pay money to put it on that platform. And it's quite a bit of money. When it comes to PC, that's free. You can just upload it. So Sony and Microsoft are not only locking us PC gamers away from their exclusives and buying exclusives from third parties, but they're locking you out of games that you would probably enjoy, all those genres that I was just talking about that you're missing out on because of them.
I'm just going to say one thing. I mean, like, all these indie games that I played on the consoles are just fucking garbage, and they came from the PC first. So you can say that PC has more exclusives, but most of these exclusive games that you're talking about are just, like, crap. Like, they're literally anybody's mother can make these games you're talking about. So they're automatically, like, they could be shit because they have, like, what, like a $2 budget.
A game like what?
Let's see.
What's an indie game that you remember that came from the PC that you didn't like?
Don't Starve is one thing I can come up with. What was that other game? It was a game I did review on. Grow Home, I think it was called. It was fucking horrible, and it came from the PC, and it was ported to the PS4. Look, all these indie games that are free on the PS4, like, they're garbage. They're pure garbage. Like, they're not even good. Like, they even get bad reviews on the fucking websites or whatever. They're not good games. So, like, you can keep saying, like, just because it's quality over quantity. That's how I see it. It's quality over quantity. You can have all these games. That doesn't mean that they're better.
So you would give up games like Binding of Isaac and Star Citizen and games like indicative of Outlast, not because Outlast, I think, came to consoles.
It did.
But more games similar to that you've never played.
The point is, if a game's relevant enough, it won't be a PC exclusive.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Star Citizen?
Okay. Have you heard of Red Dead Redemption?
I played it.
Okay.
And hopefully,
can you get the first one on the PC? No. Can you get the second one on the PC? No.
No, not yet.
It's
Regardless,
not.
No.
There's no PC version planned.
Okay, even if that were true, okay, even with the second, even if that were true, it would still come to PC. And you know why? Because not only do we have all of these genres that you're missing out on, but
that's just speculation, though, because the first Red Dead Redemption, you guys said it was going to come to PC, and it never did.
No, listen. We have emulators. All those consoles,
Ooh.
all those consoles that you had when you grew up, and I had myself when you grew, all of that is played on one machine, and the 360 and the PlayStation 3 are being worked on right now. Regardless as to what, if the game comes out or not, we will have those games.
We're better because we can pirate games.
It's not piracy. And I knew you were going to say that, and I came prepared. Page
Okay,
11
I'm
of...
trying to see.
No.
Okay.
Page 11 of this PDF, and I will link it in your Skype, will actually show that emulation is not piracy in the slightest. It goes over the legalities of emulation, and I'll even link it in this podcast, as I've linked to many people. I'll show it on screen right now. The legalities of emulation. None of it is illegal. Piracy itself.
So how is Nintendo able to take down emulator site if
because
it's not
Nintendo
illegal?
is stuck in the 80s and they're idiots.
Because I can be if I
and
like,
they don't take down. They don't take down.
From a business standpoint, if I was the head of Nintendo, or if I worked for Nintendo, and people were able to play these games on their PC for free, I'd be that hurts my bottom line because I'd be losing a lot of money.
How does that hurt your bottom line if you're Nintendo?
Because they have the virtual console.
No. Okay. Oh my God. Yes, that's true. That is actually a very good point. They do have the virtual console, and that is something that... But Nintendo does not have the power to pull sites down. They have the power to ask. They have the power to give a cease and desist, but they cannot sue. They cannot legally sue anyone for having them because emulation is legal. All they do is try to scare people. That's what they do to get it down.
What about the modern games that get pirated on PC?
Okay, so I have two stances on that. I have not ever pirated a video game, and I never would.
You're a good boy. You're a good boy, Barry.
A lot of people pirate video games, and even CD Projekt Red, the developers of the Witcher series, came out and said that they would prefer if people pirated their game to test it instead of not play it. Never pirate it. They would rather people pirate it because they know that that could drive sales, and it does. A lot of PC gamers pirate games so they can test it because there's not a lot of demos and there's not a lot of betas that come out for a lot of video games. And with that, we deserve to be able to see what the game is going to be like and if we want to play it. After that, a lot of us delete the game and go buy it. More of us, actually, will delete the game and go buy it.
Oh, that's fucking bullshit.
No.
If you have the game for free, you're not going to fucking buy it.
No.
That's just a stupid point to make.
You will.
It's stupid.
No.
It's stupid.
Because more PC gamers care about the industry than they care about getting free stuff. A lot of people will still...
They're good Samaritans, yes.
A lot of people will still pirate the game and keep it. I know they will, and it sucks. It's unfortunate that they do that. And I hate that. But...
Yeah, it's like, okay, like WinRAR is supposed to be a paid service, right?
Mm-hmm.
That thing keeps coming up saying, "Oh, this is a paid service." You think everyone actually pays for it? No. Like you're saying that because they pirate games that like a lot of them they buy it. Why would you buy it if you fucking get it for free? I don't understand that.
Because you're a good human being.
Why wouldn't you buy it first if you're a good person?
Because you have the right to test the game, like CD Projekt Red was saying. It's a product that you're going to be spending upwards of $60 on.
Okay.
That is not a small chunk of change. They should have demos out. They should have betas out so that you can test it and play it first.
But that's not a demo. That's not a demo. That's not a demo or a beta. People are pirating the full game.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand the point you're trying to make here. It's a stupid point, honestly.
No, it's not a stupid point. Look, if it were you, what would you do? If it were you, I'm going to give you the scenario. Would you pirate the game and play it for a little bit? Or would you just not buy it at all?
I would not buy it at all.
See, and that hurts sales.
Okay, but the thing is, if you're playing on console, you're not allowed to do that. You know,
You
criticize. Oh yeah.
Go to the Pirate Bay and look up PS4. You will find tons of pirated copies of games on there.
Sure,
same with Xbox One.
To detect that, and you get banned.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
you get banned a lot more often
I
with pirated
have
PS4 and Xbox
friends,
One games than on PC.
almost everyone I work with, at work pirates their games on PC and on console. Not a single one of them have been banned. They've done it for years.
Interesting, because usually if you pirate a game on the consoles, they because it's a, like you said, it's a locked platform, so they're able to
Right.
detect if it's a pirated copy or not.
Mm-hmm.
They can do that. They could detect if it's pirated or not, and
They
usually
can.
they ban you. It's a lot easier to detect if someone's pirating on a console than on a PC.
And I'll say that less people do pirate on the consoles. It's easy. But
So I
more
would say,
people
from a
who
developer
pirate.
standpoint, wouldn't it make more sense to focus on the consoles if they can make more money, and their sales don't hurt because there's
Actually,
not fucking pirates?
CD Projekt Red, Grand Theft Auto, Bethesda even said for Skyrim and Fallout 4, it made more sales on PC by a long shot.
Okay.
So, continue.
The PC version of GTA 5 sold more than the consoles, is what you're saying?
That's what I recall, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I think it sold 1 million copies the first day.
I remember, didn't Rockstar send private investigators to people's houses for modding or some shit?
What? No. No. They didn't
Do you want
that.
me to link this to you? 'Cause
I
it's a real story.
swear to God, there's no way Rockstar sent people. They would have just emailed or something or took their account down. There's no way.
They sent private investigators to people who were modding.
Holy cow.
You think I'm lying?
No, I don't think. I just think that's a ridiculous thing to do.
It wasn't Rockstar, I'm sorry. It was Take-Two, the parent company.
Oh, okay.
It's a real story, though. They actually sent private investigators to fucking modders. And didn't they take down a whole bunch of mods in GTA 5? Wasn't that the selling point of GTA 5? And a lot of people felt like they didn't get their money's worth because fucking Rockstar was banning people from modding their game.
People still mod their games all the time, actually.
Right. But
And
the point is,
a ton of them don't get banned.
In single player.
If you're in an invite-only server with your friends, there's a very low chance you're going to get banned because you're not in an official server.
Ah, okay. That's why my stream's lagging, because I'm running OBS twice.
That's amazing.
But the thing is, if I exit it, I think the stream's gonna end.
Don't exit it then. Just like, don't even worry about it.
Look, I'll just link people to your version if it's
bad, or I'll just send you mine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, but
Okay.
it's gonna be available on your channel though because you're streaming.
That's true.
So.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't continue.
So the last part, and it always cracks me up when people talk about piracy, because not only do console gamers pirate as well, not to the extreme, but they do as well, they sell their games. And you even said this in your video. Selling your video games actually hurts the industry just as much as piracy does. That's a no sale right there. If you were to sell your game to your friend, he, instead of getting that game through the company, got that game from you. So that money never went to Rockstar or whoever you got the game from.
It did at one point. Right,
but that doesn't matter. If you had the game and he had the game,
if you're pirating a game, the money never goes to the developer. If
Right.
you buy a game full price and then you sell it, it went to them at one point.
If you get the game from GameStop used, none of that money went there. Only the first time.
The person who originally bought it, it went there at that point.
But then let me posit this.
If you're pirating, it never went to them at all.
Let me posit this, okay? You as a person sell gold bars, okay? You sell one gold bar for $1 million, okay? And you pass it off to someone. Now that person then sells that gold bar to someone else for $1 million. You didn't get that money. Now let's say those two people, instead of sharing it, the other one came up to you and bought a gold bar for $1 million. Instead of making 1 million, you made 2. It's simple math.
Yeah, so?
Did you? It's right there.
Okay, I'm not saying it does not hurt the developer. I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm saying it hurts it a lot less in the consoles than on the PC, which it's completely objective.
It doesn't hurt it a lot less. It doesn't. It doesn't hurt it a lot. It hurts it a lot more. And the reason is because
you're having faith in people who pirate the games that they're going to eventually buy it.
Because here's the thing. Not only do I have faith in that,
ridiculous standpoint.
CD Projekt Red has statistics on that, and I actually urge you to go look at that article because it's very well written by them, talking about how much they sold their game to pirates. Now, when it comes down to it, what I was going to say is I want to ask how many console gaming friends you have, and out of them, how many sell their games or get them at GameStop instead of from Walmart or a shelf they know that money will go to the developer. Because at GameStop, they try to sell you a used copy instead of an original. And the reason they do that is because they make money. They don't share that money with the devs. More people go to GameStop.
It's only like $5 cheaper than a new copy. Yeah,
right. More people go to GameStop than they will Walmart to get a video game because they know they'll get it cheaper. That developer gets screwed out of tons of money, and developers have tried shutting down GameStop hundreds of times because of this. It hurts them more than piracy, and it's evident.
Okay, but
because they've actually taken steps to try, whereas with piracy they don't.
You're trying to compare a free market to just plain stealing, to plain theft. You're trying to make a comparison between the two.
Well, here's the reason I'm doing that. Here's the reason I'm doing that, is because when you said in your video, on PC you cannot sell your games because they are digital, right?
Which is true.
Right. On console you can because they're physical, right?
Yes.
When you first turned on your console, whatever it was, there was a EULA agreement and a terms and conditions that you signed, and in that agreement it said, do not sell your games. They do not belong to you. They are licensed to you. Selling your games goes against everything in that EULA. Doing that is just as wrong. To say it's not, and to say it doesn't hurt the industry, it's illogical because it hurts them a lot more.
Did I not? Okay, I said that it does hurt them, but it doesn't hurt as much as blatantly stealing the game, getting a full copy of it, and the money never went to them at all, compared to when you buy the game and then you sell it to someone. At least the money went to them at some point. Like shit, you're blaming people for buying it cheaper, like that than the full version, compared to but you're not blaming people for getting complete free copies, saying that that's not a big deal. Like, come on.
It's funny when
it's ridiculous.
No. It's just funny because you say they get the game cheaper, and I laugh because cheaper is like $5 under, whereas for us cheaper is like $30 under.
Okay. Okay.
But that was just me being a jerk because I was just trying to be a jerk.
So you don't have to. But the GameStop's not the only place you can buy games from.
Right.
You can buy
That's
it
true.
online.
That's true.
It's not always a $5 difference, so that's not really.
Very true.
I know you were just saying it because you were trying to be a dick, but
yeah. Yeah, because I was like, okay. All right, here we go.
I'm not trying to make this. I'm not trying to have this turn into us trading insults or anything. It's just I don't have anything against you.
All right, yeah.
I hope I'm not trying to have this debate go to turn
I actually wouldn't care if you did. It never really bothers me, but I sincerely appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, I just hope you and the viewers try to understand. This is. I'm not trying to come out. I'm not trying to be a dick. I mean, I might come out as one, but whatever. I don't really care.
Right.
But I'm trying my best to keep this as civil as possible. I never said anything bad about Barry at all. I never made any insult.
No. Dude, call me whatever the hell you want to. I don't care. It's actually fun. I really don't mind. And I'll say it too. Guys, if he insults me and legitimately means it, who cares? Seriously.
The point is, if I do, it'll either be a joke. It'll probably be a joke, and I won't mean it. Because it's just stupid to trade insults over fucking video games. Get the fuck over yourselves.
I agree.
It's stupid. That's why I don't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You peasant. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was mean. You're not. Okay.
I'm a real peasant.
Okay. So the main point was, at least from all of that I gather, I'm trying to make sense of it all, but what I gathered was, I said, when it comes to consoles, you can pirate and you can sell your games. When it comes to PC, you can pirate, you cannot sell your games. And when a lot of people pirate, they actually delete the game and just use it as a tester to see if they want to buy the game. And what CD Projekt Red's article was about was, when it comes to that, if that person never downloaded our game illegally,
right,
we may have never made a sale off that guy. It was only when he downloaded it illegally, realized he wanted to contribute to us, and then he bought the game. And that gives us a lot more sales than people think. And
so you're
that's
talking
why
about the
we
honor
hate,
so you're pretty much talking about the honor system, pretty much, like,
which is a lot more lucrative for video game developers than you might think. Yes.
Can't trust people to really do that, though. I think they're going to make a lot more money in the end if there's piracy's not a thing at all.
I think I would trust you to do it. I think I would trust myself to do it.
I wouldn't trust myself.
You wouldn't do it. You would pirate the game if you got it for free.
Shit, if something's fucking free, I'm not gonna.
See, I feel scummy about that. I feel
and I'm not the only person like that. There's other people like that.
I hear ya.
I guarantee you, more people like me than like you.
Maybe. I wouldn't know. All I know is the article. But if you're done, I'm done, and we can move on to the next.
Yes, because we're not going to really go anywhere. I think we made our
point. There comes to a point where certain arguments...
We can continue debating this one point for the next 3 hours.
No, and it's funny because it happens. Like, I keep going until we hit a stalemate, and we keep repeating the same things, and I'm like, okay, we need to move on. It's time.
Okay, there's like, what, 5 more points probably?
There are 5 more points. Yes, we have gone halfway through. We have gone halfway through.
So that means this is a 4-hour debate. That's crazy. Oh, my God.
Potentially. I'm going to say...
let's try to cut it down a little bit, okay? Like,
okay.
we're not gonna have a time limit, but like if it gets to a point where just reiterating our same points, let's just cut it.
I hear you.
We haven't really been doing a good job at that lately.
Okay, so in the second segment of your video, what you did was counter arguments. Okay.
Yes, I did.
And these are normally from PC gamers to console gamers. So the first one is PC gaming is better because consoles are from PCs, and you used analogies like regular milk superior to chocolate milk, and are hamburgers superior to cheeseburgers. And what you were essentially saying was that even if consoles are from PC, it doesn't mean that PC is better at all.
It doesn't.
Please elaborate. It's all yours.
All right. So consoles come from PCs, right?
Yes.
That doesn't mean that PCs are better, because I can say, okay, it doesn't mean that I come from my father. Doesn't mean my father's superior to me.
Right.
So it's the same analogy. Just because one thing, like, okay, because one thing came from another doesn't mean that that thing's automatically superior. That just means it came from it. That doesn't mean anything else, because a lot of people use that argument. Well, like, oh, well, you use PCs to make consoles. Consoles are conventional PCs. That means PCs are better. No. That doesn't mean anything. That's the point I was trying to make.
And I will agree.
I'm interested to see what you think about that.
Well, I will agree that the argument itself is kind of dumb, because that's very true. If I were to sit there and say, hey, this came first, this came second, the first thing must be better. Normally, revisions are the better thing.
Right.
But what I'm gonna get at is the problem is this generation's consoles were so far behind the technological curve, and from day one, the consoles were already 5 years outdated. Mm-hmm. And that's really the problem when you sit there and say consoles are better than PC, if you say.
The only people who complain about consoles graphics are PC gamers. I'm
not saying graphic-wise. When this generation came out, people should have received 1080p 60 FPS at least. Because at that time, since 2001, PC gamers were playing at 60 FPS. And funnily enough, so were console gamers. So the Nintendo 64 played a lot of games at 60. The GameCube played a lot of games at 60. The Game Boys did as well. And then this generation, the 360, got weak, very weak, and was only able to output 30 FPS.
Okay, you have to understand this from an economic standpoint. I'm sure you're aware that Sony and Microsoft they were already selling their consoles at a loss when they came out, right?
Yes, they were.
I'm sure you're aware of this. They were already selling it at a loss. So if their option was to either have it at a greater loss by having more powerful machines or charging more. The consoles were $400 when they came out. The Xbox One was actually $500, if you would recall. It came with the fucking Kinect. Nobody wanted it.
I remember.
That happened.
Yeah.
So people still couldn't afford the $400 system in 2013.
No, they couldn't.
I know people who still only play on the PS3 and don't even have a PS4.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I mean, we just came out of a
recession. Economic standpoint, that if they charged more back then to like $450 or whatever the hell, because back then $400 is the ideal price for a machine like that. Now, not necessarily.
There was a theory that the consoles were actually supposed to come out in 2010 or 2011 instead, but then we hit that recession and they had to fall back because they knew nobody would be able to buy it.
Exactly. This is all it's all based on economics.
It is definitely economics. It is. But even from that point in 2010, the console still would have been 3 years outdated. That's not as huge a leap. But I will say, I gotta say this, even though that they were from that time very anemic, I am very impressed with what these consoles have been able to push out. I'm actually really impressed in the visuals, but when it comes to limitations, it's not the visuals that I'm talking about. When it comes to it, games.
You're talking about frame rate?
No, not even frame rate. Games themselves are hindered and limited because of the hardware. And I
know what you're talking
can liken
about.
this
I know
to
exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of similar to like with when the PS4 came out. They were still making PS3 versions, and the PS3 versions were horrible, and that kind of hindered the PS4 version. So I understand your point of that completely.
Even more than
really
that.
Not much.
Even more than that. Games like Uncharted, and games like what was that one? The Order 1886.
Order 1886 was god awful.
Okay, so the problem is when they push the console to do more, the game unfortunately loses some of the things because it'll actually drop in frame rate. It will drop in possibly visuals. It will have to because it won't be able to keep up. So the game
Order 1886 is a bad example because it was just lazy development. That was pretty much what it boiled down to. That's why the game was shit.
Well, is that true though?
It's true.
But think of it like
this. They cut multiplayer. They had a 6-hour campaign.
Think of it like this. When you have a platform that's unlimited, you can pop any game on there, no problem, and it will potentially run and not have as many issues with the game struggling to keep up with adventure and storytelling. When you have a system that is weak, you have to kind of work around that. What do you sacrifice? Some instances we had to sacrifice, and I'm going to say we as gamers, even though I never had the PlayStation, have to sacrifice gameplay sometimes in order to stay with a 30 FPS frame rate mark and the visuals that we got. And that was for Uncharted and for the Order 1886. And I say the Order 1886 is because that was supposed to be the game that showed off what that PlayStation could do, and what it showed was very telling.
There were games that had a lot more in it than the Order 1886. So I don't understand what your point is.
Well, no.
That game was complete garbage.
It definitely was.
It all boiled down to poor development, them trying to rush the title, and them deciding, okay, we're going to cut multiplayer. We're going to have a six-hour campaign. Like, that's crazy. 6 hours.
Visually, the Order 1886 and Uncharted are some of the most beautiful games on the PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Visually.
Right.
And in doing so, in making them that good looking, the physics being as good as they were,
they had to make some cuts in terms of
They had to make some cuts. That's the point.
Okay.
And that's why what the point was when you have a system, and especially with an API, I know the specs in the PlayStation 4 by heart. And when I heard of these specs, because I heard a new console was coming out, and I was just getting into PC gaming, and I was like, hey, maybe I'll get a console. And I saw the specs, I was like, how's that even gonna play video games? So when I say I'm super impressed with what some of these games are, I can also see where it was limited.
Right. So I know we talked about this earlier, but I just wanted, because you didn't really share your complete thoughts on it.
Okay.
You might have in your videos, but I didn't see all of them. Well, what are your thoughts on the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox Scorpio? How do you think they'll fare? How do you think they'll resolve that issue? Do you think they will at all?
Say it again. What do you mean?
Okay, so you talk about how the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are severely underpowered, right?
They were, yes.
They are still, obviously.
Yes. Well, right.
So, and you say that has a huge effect on the gameplay.
It can, yes, definitely. Has been proven
So,
to.
so do you think the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio will do anything about that or no?
I think it will. I think it
Like,
will, and here's why.
Do you think the Scorpio and the Scorpio and the Pro will like appeal to people?
I think it will. I think it will, indeed it will. And here's why I say that. Let's say you have a game like Metal Gear Solid, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The great game, and it looked beautiful and it ran amazing, okay? Let's say you have it on a $7,000 PC. No, that's impossible. I'd never be able to build a $7,000, okay, a $1,000 PC. Built a few of those, okay?
Sure.
Let's say you have that on a $1,000 PC, and then you have it on a $400 PC.
Yeah.
What you gain from that, it actually changes the game. Let's say that $400 PC only ran the game at 1080p, 60 FPS. Not only on that $1,000 PC can you have a higher frame rate, you can have a higher resolution, with tons more pixels on the screens. The game just automatically looks better. Your MSAA, your tessellation, your anisotropic filtering, everything, all of it is on max. The game is actually 100% different.
You see, the reason why I don't think it will do anything, these upgraded PlayStations and Xbox Ones, is because there won't be any games that you can run on the new consoles that you can't run on the old ones. You know what I mean? Like there won't be any PS4 Pro games that you can only run on the PS4 Pro, because if that happened, it would be a complete PR disaster. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't really necessarily think it will be too much of a success. I think it'll appeal, especially the Scorpio, because it's supposed to be like $600. It's supposed to be a super powerful machine. Most people don't even have 4K. I mean, look, 4K is great, but most people don't even use it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you need to from an economic standpoint, you need to look at this too, not just from like like a standpoint of like, oh, this is more superior than the other. Like, you have to look at economics, because consoles, look, a lot of people are obviously like consoles. The only way to solve the problem with games being hindered by, because I'm sure you believe that a lot of PC games could be better if consoles didn't exist.
I can see that from both sides, but yes, I actually do think a lot of AAA cross-platform or otherwise could potentially be a lot better.
That's true, and I know I don't think you're one of them, but a lot of PC gamers think that gaming industry would be better if consoles just flat out didn't exist. And that's obviously not true, because if consoles didn't exist, then that would just alienate a large chunk of gamers from buying games if only PCs were available. You know what I mean? So, I mean, look, consoles, while I guess you can say that they can hinder development to an extent, and they can make games less I guess powerful, or less have less features than they normally would if just consoles flat out didn't exist. They're necessary. I think they do a lot more good for the gaming industry than PC gamers give them credit for.
I can definitely agree, actually, with that. I think that PC gaming for me was a good console gaming. Yeah. It was definitely a good start. GameCube was the first console I ever owned, and it got me into playing video games.
I'm sure most people watching this stream right now I'm sure a lot of your subscribers are, PC gamers. They prefer PC. Yeah. I'm sure most of those people started out on console.
They probably did. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them did also come from PC. My best friend actually never had a console.
I think that actually goes into that. I'm not going to talk about this more, because that actually goes into one of my counterpoints later.
Okay.
Talking about how consoles contributed more or something to the industry.
Yeah, and I have a rebuttal to that one too. But
so
yeah.
should we just do that one now, because we're getting into it?
Well,
because I feel like it'll be all over the place.
We're not into it yet, and that one does come in earlier. So we'll. Actually, wait a minute. I think you did say that.
I did say what?
In this point, I think you said that I think the quote was, if consoles didn't exist, gaming wouldn't exist.
Which is true.
And if PCs didn't exist, gaming would still exist.
Also true.
But no, that's not. It's not. Please say yours, because you had a point you were going on anyway. So please say yours. But it's not.
So we're talking about this topic now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yes, we are. Yes.
Okay, so how many more topics are after this? Like 3 more, right?
Yeah.
I just need a sense of time. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. It's like 2:35 in the morning where I am, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So talking about that, it's most people, unless you're fucking insane, admit that consoles have contributed a great amount to the gaming industry. But I know that's not what you're getting at, but just hear me out. Yeah, so like look at all these systems like that have contributed so much to the gaming industry, like
right.
the Wii. I mean, even though it was a fucking graphically it wasn't very impressive, but I mean the motion it revolutionized gaming in a lot of ways. Nintendo in general has revolutionized gaming. The NES made the gaming industry relevant again. It got gaming out of the 1983 crash because the Atari, so like the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of consoles made a lot of innovations that wouldn't exist if consoles didn't flat out exist, compared to with PC gaming in general. Like I can't think of too many innovations that were made under PC gaming.
Unfortunate, because there are millions.
Okay, think one.
One, dude. I have like 8 off the top of my head. Okay, so how about this?
Let's hear it.
Doom changed the way first-person shooters worked, and then after Doom, there was Half-Life and Half-Life 2. Changed the way physics worked and shooting at the same time. After that, you have games like I had another game, and it was recent.
Wasn't Doom on Doom was on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, but continue.
Right, it was. Yes, it was. Half-Life and Half-Life 2 were
PC, yeah.
Yeah. I had this. There was another game that contributed really a ton to the way games work today. Regardless of that, though.
Quake.
Good one. Regardless of that.
I'm helping you. I'm fucking helping you.
Well, no, because you're helping me because it's true. That's why.
Yeah.
Graphics cards. Graphics cards are one thing that have yet to be implemented into a console. They're APIs, which, if you don't know what an API is, it runs similar to the way integrated graphics works on a laptop. That's similar, except consoles are more powerful than a laptop. And then the other thing, virtual reality. Virtual reality started on PC. 4K, another thing that started on PC.
That's tricky. It's tricky. This is my personal opinion. I think virtual reality is just a gimmick.
Oh God, that hurts because it's amazing.
I think it's a gimmick. I don't think it's gonna last.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't.
Dude, I'm saying this as a friend. Get one. Okay, don't get one. Use one. And don't use Sony's. Oh my God, don't use Sony's. Get a real one.
No.
Get
the
Vive.
games that are exclusive on VR look like shit.
Dude, it doesn't
on the
matter.
PlayStation VR.
It's not how it works. As soon as you get into a video game, it doesn't matter how cartoony, it doesn't matter how blocky, that is now your universe, and it's instant immersion, and it feels like real life. Instantly.
I know Fallout 4 is gonna have VR.
Ugh, I don't know about that. The thing about VR is it has to run at 90 FPS in each eye. Otherwise, you will feel motion sick. And I think Sony's, as of right now, runs at like 40.
But the human eye can only see 30 frames.
Yeah, you're kidding me. Seriously, if you want a major headache, play games at 30 FPS at VR, dude. You will vomit.
Oh, God.
No, you will. I did.
Jesus. Like, that's the thing. I don't think this is the future of gaming.
And I agree. I agree. It is an add-on that's fun, but it is also a new revolutionary innovation. It's something that we have not yet done before, and it started on PC. Regardless as to where it's going to go, we don't know.
The way I see innovations is like how much of a lasting impact they have on the industry.
Not
necessarily the fact that they were new they haven't been done before.
I
Like
hear
if we
you.
talk about VR 5-10 years from now, then fine. You won this part of the debate. But I mean, VR isn't even part of the debate. But whatever, fuck, whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's just like still.
The
I just feel like it's a gimmick. I don't think it's gonna last because first of all, the fact that they're like incredibly expensive. Like, how much does the Vive cost? Like six
the
hundred
Vive is
dollars, $700.
$800.
$800. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How VR I think is 400. I'm not sure.
On the
Something like
PlayStation, yeah, but you get like don't use it. You will vomit, dude. It's not worth. 45 FPS. If you're lucky, you'll die.
I wasn't planning. I'm not in the market for VR, so don't worry. I never planned on getting it. The point I'm trying to make is that I just think it's a gimmick. I don't think it's gonna last too long. So with VR,
Actually,
I mean,
that's a good. Okay, so I have a console gaming buddy. PlayStation 4. He plays on PlayStation 4. Loves it. And I brought him over. I was like, "Do you want to try VR?" He goes, "No, it's a gimmick. I don't really care." I was like, "Well, I'm heading over to my buddies. Do you want to come and maybe you can see?" It was the funniest thing. He puts it on, plays for like 2 hours. I was like, "So what do you think?" He goes, "Every game I've ever played in my entire life, crap. Every single game I've ever played, nothing in comparison to this. Nothing." And I was like, "Dude, are you kidding me?" He goes, "We're going halvesies. You're buying one and I'm helping you." I was like, you don't have a PC to run it." He goes, "You do. I'm coming over every day. We're going to play on this thing. Every game I own is crap." That's what his words were. He used more vulgarity than I did, but
of course.
But
Okay, look, I understand your point, but who's to say just because something's amazing now that people aren't going to get tired of it?
very true. Very true. I
But
mean,
people
the
get obsessed- but look, I think the Wii did innovate because I mean, look, it must have done a lot of innovation if Sony and Microsoft were willing to copy it, with the PlayStation Move and the Kinect or whatever. But look, eventually people got tired of it. People were obsessed with it at first, saying this is going to change gaming, and it most people just use controllers over that. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Like I do think the only reason I think the Wii innovated is because it got a lot of casual people into gaming.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I think it innovated, not necessarily because the motion control was like, it changed gaming and it was necessarily good. Because most Wii games were just shovelware, like they were shitty. They were shitty games that just tried to like, they only used motion controls, and I think that's shitty. Like when there are games that force you to use the gimmick, you know what I'm talking about? Like games that you can only use motion controls or Kinect or something like that.
I hear
Like
you.
those games are automatically like destined to be shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't necessarily think like VR is different because, first of all, it's a lot more expensive, and that's always a deterrent, for people. And second of all, I think people are going to get tired of it eventually because VR just, I don't know. It's just something about VR makes it seem like it's going to be like one of those gimmicks. It's not going to last very long. I don't think it's the future of gaming because, like, I don't know. Like I said, it's affordability and other things too that I just feel it's going to be the.
Before you have a stapled opinion on it, you do need to try it. I think that's fair.
Okay, but look, like you've heard of these stores that like they actually charge people to play.
That's
VR.
ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong. I think you
And
just
this-
need to find
it's not
someone
even-
who owns one.
I think it's the PlayStation VR that they charge you to play.
That's true. Yeah, the crappy one. That's
It's not even the
true.
HTZ or whatever. It's the fucking PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Okay, so I want to get back to a point because this will end this topic.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing you said at the beginning cracked me up because you said if PCs didn't exist, gaming would still exist. But if consoles didn't exist, PC gaming or gaming in itself wouldn't. But that doesn't make any sense. Only because
I said PC gaming with like if PC gaming wasn't a thing, consoles would still
exist.
not PCs in general because that point would just make complete that'd be complete nonsense. But yeah, continue.
That's what you said.
I said PC gaming. Look back at the video.
You want me to look back at the video?
I mean, it would probably waste time, but I said PC gaming specifically, not PCs in general. I said, basically what I was saying basically was I said that we need like console gaming would exist without PC gaming, not PCs, pretty much, if that makes sense.
I think I wrote your quote down. I wrote
Okay.
your quote down. I gotta find it. Right here. Yeah,
Sure.
PC never innovates. Wrote the quote down.
Okay.
Without consoles, gaming wouldn't exist. But without PCs, gaming would still exist.
Okay. But
And now,
what I said earlier,
right.
what I said before that, though,
Right.
because, you know, you
that,
take one
right,
and it makes it seem like something else. Like, you need to take into consideration what I was building up to before I said that.
And
you know what I mean?
I'm totally what I was going to get at was actually what you said, was that it was kind of a ludicrous statement, being as how all games are made on PC and hardware comes from innovations of computers. So
I meant PC gaming.
I hear you, and now that you've redacted and fixed, I agree 100%. Like I could hug you. We're done. That one's over. It's done.
Okay. 3 more, right? Right, 3 more.
Technically, but like one's technically a repeat, but we can go over it briefly. So there's 4, but there is 3. So
Okay,
the next one,
that.
PC is a platform that gives gamers more freedom. That is the next quote.
PC. Okay, yeah.
And
we went into that in a lot of detail.
I'm gonna say, when you're gonna talk about freedoms, I made a joke in the video. I said, yeah, that's true, because consoles give you better graphics, better resolution. They give you free online gaming. They give you mods, better controls, dedicated servers, a higher skill ceiling, backwards compatibility, upgradable hardware, compatibility with any controller you want to use, emulators, more player per server, cheaper games. And the list goes on and on. But then again, wait a minute. No, consoles don't offer you that, do they? No, that's right. That's PC. So where are your freedoms again? That was what I said in the video, and I was kind of an a-hole about it. But that's my point right there.
So, like, you don't consider yourself an elitist, but you think sometimes it's fun to, like, pretend to be one.
Kind of. Like, I let myself be a little pretentious sometimes just to be a jerk and to make the video a tiny bit more interesting. But I always, go back and say, guys, look,
right.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole video, but like I know she made like a lot of jokes, and you were very civil in making that video against me, unlike somebody else that I will not mention.
Right, you said he was affiliated with dogs or something? Yeah.
Yeah. He has like a dog fetish or some shit.
Continue.
Right. And no, but like going back to the point with we were talking about with more freedom, right? I feel like you are right with, everything you listed, which, that you're right with that. But I think consoles do have a lot of advantages. Like the fact that PC has more freedom could also be a negative. And consoles having less freedom, it sounds like a bad thing, but it could also have a lot of positives too. Like you need to look at it. You need to be more open to that. You know what I mean?
I definitely am open to that. And that's what I was saying earlier with it being child-proof consoles, is that when you have a console, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to screw anything up.
Exactly.
With a PC, you can get yourself into some trouble. I mean, not only are PCs gaming machines, but they also go on the internet. They surf the web. They can do anything you want them to do. And with that, you can run into danger zones. Of course you can. And
Right.
It's obvious. It's a no-brainer.
You need to understand, some people just don't want to go through the hassle. Some people do not want to be bothered with all this shit that can happen to you if you play on PC. They just want to be able. They want you might not believe that having a more simplistic machine is a good thing, but for a lot of people, they just don't want to deal with it. That's why consoles are so successful. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree.
If everybody had the same mindset as you, then everybody would just be playing on a PC.
Well, that's exactly what people want, something simple, and that's what the Steam machines failed to do. However, what you could do if you wanted something simple and you knew how to build a PC, I know this is another thing that, of course, not everybody knows how to do or wants to learn, like you said. But if you were to do that, the Steam OS is free. And it works just like a console. I mean, that's another alternative. And you decide your hardware. Regardless, any way you look at it, PC is going to be trickier. That's why consoles are geared towards the people they're geared towards. People who
there could also be a lot of cons that go with it, though. I'm sure you're aware of that, though.
Cons to what? Consoles or the Steam OS?
To like PCs being more complex machines.
Oh yeah, I stated it.
There are cons. and some people do not just want to. Some people just don't want to deal with it.
Well, because everyone wants to think that they can never be wrong. And when you spend this much money, whether it be $400 or $800, you're going to want that reassurance that you made the right decision, because nobody can be an idiot. You can't be an idiot. That's why
Not
people buy
necessarily,
Apple
because
products.
I know people who only play on consoles and they say PC's better.
Well, I mean, they're objective.
Mm-hmm.
They see it from both sides. I mean, I get that all the time in my my videos, mostly my Console Peasant Quote series, where they'll say, hey, I play on consoles, I know PC's better, I don't want to learn to get into it. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then again, you don't particularly believe that PC is objectively better. So then that statement that they made is not entirely true for you.
Right. I understand what you mean, but I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
I'm cool with it. Yeah. I mean, that's what the debate was. It's an agree.
I'm getting this thing in OBS encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings.
You might want to. Yeah, you can go into settings.
I can't exit out.
No, you don't have to exit out.
No, I mean the notification. I can't exit out. Like, I can't get rid of it. It's weird.
That is a strange thing.
Like on my computer, I can't exit out. That's the only reason why I care. But it still says it's recording because I had 2 OBSs running. Mm-hmm. That's why it was like shit. Not because I have bad internet or anything, but if you're running two OBSs, obviously it's not. Yeah. So that's why it was, to anybody, wondering why my stream is so shitty. If you're watching my version, that's why. Because it's like running. I didn't even realize I was running 2 OBSs until just now. But yeah, I exited out one of them and that notification popped up. Because I exited out the one that wasn't recording. I thought that would solve it, but I guess not. Actually, no, I think it's getting better now, so never mind. But we're going to have to agree to disagree on the whole thing.
I agree. Yeah.
Obviously, there are people who are going to prefer, the simplicity over the complexity, and a lot of people are going to agree with you. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying that PCs don't have more freedom, because that's a stupid argument to make. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, is what I'm saying.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
next
more,
one.
Right?
Yes, this one was the repeat, and then 2 after that. This was the repeat. You said you can't buy a powerful gaming PC that's cheaper than a new console, and this is fine, totally fine, because I don't want to get into that loop we were stuck in earlier, where I was talking about the $350 PC, and you brought up the monitor every time.
Wait, that was one of my counter arguments. I'm confused.
No, I think the counter argument quoted, and I'm looking at it right now, was you can buy a powerful gaming PC that's cheaper than a new console.
Oh, that was related to, right, that I remember when I made the video, it was related to the last point I made, like, in the beginning of the video. Right.
The only part that I have a problem with here, because I actually, we had this conversation. But
and I don't think we want to spend another hour talking about it.
No, but you linked an article from PC Gamer showing a necessary PC build, if you're going to go as cheap as possible. And if you look at this thing, and I know maybe you don't know the most about hardware.
Keep in mind the video's a year and a half old.
I do get that. But this is
a year and a half is a lot.
This is a $678 computer, and I'm going to list the specs, and I hope you can pick out some of the things that you're going to see. The processor was an Intel Pentium, terrible processor. That not a problem. The motherboard, standard. The memory, standard. Graphics card was a 960, a GTX 960, and they were saying that was what you needed to get the cheapest. A 960 is actually a mid-range card still, even with the 10 series out. That's not a card you need. If you want cheap, you can go for like the 750 Ti, 760, stuff like cheaper. Because as time goes on, and we get newer hardware, the older hardware gets cheaper. So we can build PCs like this. PCs that have the same power as a $1,000 PC are now $200. if I listed the specs of my first PC, when I bought it, it was $900. If you go back and buy it right now, it's going to be like $500 because parts decrease in price as new stuff gets better. So,
and they've decreased over the past year and a half.
Right. But the 960, even at that time, was a very powerful card a year and a half ago. Because we were in the 9 series of video cards. We just hit the 10 series. So this was a very powerful graphics card. And they acted like this was what you needed. That was misleading. The next thing was the 500 watt power supply. Also misleading. You don't need that. The crucial SSD. And then a 2 terabyte Western hard drive. Why do you need both of those? Just get a 1 terabyte. They're $40. And then the Cooler Master. These processors come with coolers. You don't need that. There were a ton of specs in here that you did not need. And it wasn't your fault. But this article was written by someone who obviously didn't know how to build a budget PC.
And that's kind of funny because isn't that like the biggest PC gaming publication, PC Gamer?
No. PC Gamer is, I mean, they claim to be, but PC Gamer says some really stupid stuff all the time.
I don't know anyone else that just only does PC gaming that's like more popular.
Total Biscuit does.
Isn't he a YouTuber though?
Yes, but he reviews hardware as well as and same with Video Game Donkey and same with Linus Tech Tips. Linus Tech Tips is a big one that will go over hardware and specs. So those.
No,
three.
I'm talking about like companies and like publications, not YouTubers.
Okay. The problem with that is you're gonna get people who write these articles who do it not because they're passionate, but because they want to make money. Whoever wrote this article, I don't know if they were just uninformed or if they were paid off for whatever strange reason to say that a PC
they could have been paid off. It's possible.
$600. The cheapest you can get is $600 with a powerful graphics card like that even stands up today. And an SSD, which back then were really expensive, and a 2 terabyte hard drive. Why? Why did they do that? It doesn't make sense. That was the only problem I had with it. And it was not you, because again, I wouldn't expect you to know everything about hardware. And you probably did trust this site. I would have too. But that was the only issue I had was the research here was not done, and it was not done by them. And inherently someone, who stumbled upon it found that to be the only factual evidence that they knew was out there. So,
and I assume you said all this in your video.
I actually didn't go over the PC in my video.
Okay, but the rest, everything else related to this topic, we kind of covered already. So
we did.
I think we should move on.
I agree. So the next one was, and I'm trying to because I have your video up. Was actually PC gaming is a much better value than console gaming.
We touched upon that a little, but we can definitely get into that in more detail.
I'll list the main points that we haven't touched on yet. You said you have to spend $5 to activate a Steam account. You pay $60 a year for consoles, but you get free games. And then the last point you made was that Steam never gives games away for free, and consoles do. So go ahead. The first one was that you have to spend $5 to activate an account on Steam.
You do.
Do you?
Basically, the way it works, if you don't know, basically when you create your Steam account for the first time, you can't add friends. You can't do a lot of features that Steam has without spending at least $5. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's basically what I'm saying.
And I did talk about that in the video. Yes, you have to spend $5, but you're not paying Steam. You're buying a game.
I'm not saying it's equivalent to a subscription service. What I'm saying is that it's misleading to say that it's a completely free service, no strings attached. That's what I meant to say.
Right. Actually, a year and a half ago, no, not a year and a half ago. it was 2 years ago.
That they started doing
that
this,
they
right?
implemented that because scammers and spammers were jumping on creating profiles and then trying to get people to give them their CS:GO skins or their cards or things that were really expensive.
Right, but the people who aren't scammers, it hurts them.
It does. But then again, I could counter. Who in the hell is going to download Steam to never play video games?
Actually, I do know one person that's like that.
Yeah?
That uses the text chat or whatever, because they have a lot of friends that use Steam, so they get Steam so they can do the chat. Yeah. Or to play free-to-play games like TF2.
And I can see that. I actually did that for a long time as well. When it comes down
That's
to
what I
it,
did too.
most people are probably going to get on there, purchase a game. It's probably going to be like $15. They're not even going to notice the whole thing happened anyway. My friend actually
it forces you to do it like first, like before you do anything. Like you have to get a game before you're able to do all the use all the features.
And that's true. And what I actually found funny about this was my buddy, the console gamer that I was talking about before. I got him a laptop, and it took him 2.5 days to actually get past that $5 thing. And you know why? He got Steam during a Steam sale. So he kept buying like 50-cent games. So like
nice.
He wasn't getting over that like $5 thing, and that actually did really annoy him. So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, like look, like people say in the comments to that video that, oh, I'm saying that spending $5 on a game is as bad as paying $60 a year. I never said that. What I said is that basically it's kind of misleading, and I think PC elitists definitely exaggerate the benefits of PC gaming, and a lot of the cons they just seem to ignore it. I feel like they do a lot of misleading, saying that PC gaming is just amazing and there's no issues with it at all. And when they always talk about PC gaming, they always cite that Steam is a free service, and I just simply pointed out that that's just a misleading position to have. Not saying that it's as, like I said, I'm not saying it's equivalent to paying $60 a year, because that's a whole different discussion. And we earlier in the debate, you told your touching story, and we had that debate.
My touching story. Yeah. No, it was. It does bother me that they do that. It actually, one of my big points about my channel is that I'm trying to get out of anti-consumerism, because I know enough of us together could fight back easily.
Including console gamers.
Including console gamers, definitely. Because when it comes down to it, if everyone stopped buying that yearly subscription, what are they going to do? They're not getting that money. Fine.
I think another big problem besides subscriptions is microtransactions.
Oh, my God.
I made a video about that a few days ago. Not necessarily free-to-play games, because obviously they belong there because that's how they make their money. You can't blame free-to-play games for having microtransactions. Although you could argue that developers make games free-to-play instead of charging them $60, so because they know they're going to make more money than if they actually charge $60 for it. But I think the bigger problem are games that already cost $60 that have microtransactions in them. I think that's a huge issue that I think people should also address.
One of the most anti-consumer things I've ever seen in my entire life.
People don't really talk about it enough, I don't think people talk about it enough, because people are fine buying the battle packs and the COD points and all this bullshit. Even PC gamers, they're at fault too with the CS:GO skins and everything else. Like, I think it's something that we can all try to come together and try to fight against, because it's going to be a hard thing to do, because there's always going to be idiots that waste their money on microtransactions in $60 games. Like in Grand Theft Auto, there are people who actually, I think it's like $1 million for it's $100 for 8.5 million in-game dollars. That's actually worth $100.
Yep.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, oh my God. Like, it's just, I think that's one thing we should all come together and fight against. I know that's not necessarily part of this debate.
I think one of the biggest things for us to come together and fight against is cross-platform gaming. I think that's one that has not been touched on enough, and it actually really hurts this separation, this divide that we have against each other. Especially when we have...
All parties benefit from that.
Yes, especially when we have multiplats, and then, because what you can easily do... Because a lot of people say, well, no, that's not fair. Because if I'm playing Call of Duty, someone with a PC is going to wreck me. They have a mouse and keyboard. It's not going to be fair. And that's true. What if you had servers where there were for only people playing with a mouse. If your computer detected or the game detected a mouse, you're only put in servers with other people using mice. If you're using a controller, it's detected that you're using a controller and will put you in a match with other people around the area. That solves first-person shooters.
That's not a bad idea. Like it's really like the whole keyboard and mouse, the gap with the keyboard and mouse and the controller. That's something Rags has always said. I just said his name. I don't give a fuck. That's something Rags has always used against me. He's like, "Oh, look at you console peasant. You use aim assist." I'm like, okay, that means it's harder for me to shoot, and that means that you guys automatically have an advantage. That doesn't mean that you're better at the game just because you have an advantage. That actually might make you worse. Just putting that out there. But with the whole thing, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think it's only a big problem with first-person shooters. If you're playing Rocket League, it doesn't really matter if you're playing on a keyboard and mouse or not or anything else. I think it's really first-person shooters that they need to maybe iron it out more. But if you can't have PC players play with console players, at least have the consoles be able to play with each other. At least. Seriously, because there are a lot of games that have this benefits the developer, because there are games that have really like old games that have really low player counts. If you open it up, a lot more people are going to be on, and that's going to only benefit everybody. And those whole console wars and PC versus console bullshit would probably be
a lot. Yeah, it would be dead. It wouldn't be dead, but it'd be
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know like you won't be able to like have a party chat like if you're on PS4 and Xbox One. Like it won't be that cross-platform, but at least being able to like play in the same game as someone on the other console. That's just, I think that's enough to, because I think that's the big thing. Why we have console wars, why we have platform wars in general, is because people don't play together. If we played together, we'd probably be a little more friendly towards each other.
So the next point in this particular topic. The value is, you said that at least on Xbox and PlayStation, when you pay for that $59.99, you get free games.
Right.
I gotta say that really does annoy me.
We touched upon this earlier. I do admit some of the games aren't worth it, but I guess there are some people who would like them. But I'm just gonna say, a few years ago, the free games were actually worth a damn. Compared to now, because now they raise the price and they still have fucking shitty ass indie games that I don't care about. I guess you could say, well, some people might care about those games, but I personally don't. But I will. The one thing I will say is that the way it used to be, like I remember Outlast used to be a PlayStation Plus game for free, and I still have it, and I never paid a cent for it, and I got it.
Okay.
And Resident Evil 1 is free now on PlayStation. So
what point was,
you still get like some of your money back that you pay, is what I'm saying.
What your point was in here was that when it comes to Steam, you're paying that $5. When it comes to this, you're paying that $60, but Steam doesn't give you games. What if I told you that wasn't true?
I'm not talking about free weekends.
Neither am I. See, Steam has in the past given away Amnesia. It's given away what's that zombie one? Not the one with parkour. Dead Island. It's given away Dead Island. It is given away Slender the Arrival. It's given away a ton of, not every month, but every so often as well. Origin gives away games all the time. Origin recently gave away all of the DLC to Battlefield 4. It gave away.
They did that on the consoles too with Battlefield 4. I'm just letting you know.
Right. Origin gave away a ton recently. And same with Uplay. Uplay gave away Prince of Persia. Rayman Origins gave away The Crew. It gave away.
Well, The Crew is shit. It free is too much for that game.
Ooh, that's not gonna make a friend of mine happy. But yeah. So yeah, when it comes down to it, yes, Steam does ask for that $5. But there are free games given away a lot. And it's not as frequent, but you're not paying as frequent. You pay once if you're going to pay at all. And I'll say you do pay that $5. You pay one time, and then you have access to these free games. that are actually really good. Amnesia is arguably one of the best horror games that's out there. Same with Slender the Arrival. Very scary game. Dead Island, it was okay. Could have been better.
Yeah, I played it on the 360. I wasn't really a big fan of it. Like, even if you're playing like in the easiest way possible, like you still need people to play with it in order to even get through it. Like, you need to play co-op. It's one of those games where you can't really beat it alone. You really need to have co-op on that. And it wasn't even that like fun. Like, I thought it was ridiculous that you had to hit the zombie like fucking 50 times in order to kill it.
That was retarded. Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Especially like shooting it. Like, it took like 20,000 shots to kill it. Like, it didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't immersed in the game at all.
It was bad.
Like, at all. Yeah, I don't think it was bad. I just think it wasn't really good.
The point was,
it was one of those.
The point was, if you're spending $60 and getting how many games is it?
It's two a month.
2 a month. Okay, 2 a month, $60
on the current systems, because I know there's still like
Right.
PS3 and Vita games, but we're not talking about that. But
on
games a month
on Steam, because you use Steam a lot. On Steam, you get the free weekends, you get the free games every so often.
Oh, consoles are having free weekend. They're starting to implement that too.
That's
just
good.
saying.
That's very good. Anything that moves it in the right direction, that's fantastic.
Overwatch had the free weekends. There was a free week on the Xbox One. Overwatch had a free weekend. I played it a few weeks ago.
And games are extremely cheap.
Honestly, I think it's actually a good thing that we're having this debate, because PC gamers complaining about all the flaws that console have, that's actually pushing consoles to get better.
It does.
So I do welcome it to an extent. I just think I get annoyed after a while when people say that, oh, I'm actually like I'm better than you. I'm a better person than you because I play on the PC. That's pretty much the main problem I have. Really, that's really what it boils down to. Like, you're not one of those people.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I chose to debate you, because at least I can reason with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've actually made a couple videos. One was how to improve consoles, and then one was how to improve PC gaming. So I've done them on the both.
I think we can both. I think PCs and consoles can learn from each other in that way.
The last thing you said on this point, and this point was actually, it had a lot of stuff in there, but this is the last one. You said
throat hurts.
You said multiplat titles are always better on the consoles, and you said Batman Arkham Knight, Watch Dogs, and Witcher 3. You said, and I don't know if you still believe that Batman Arkham Knight and Watch Dogs were horrible, but Witcher 3 was one of the best PC ports and launches on PC. So I was actually curious, why did you say that one?
Yes, I was prepared for this. I have an article I'm going to send to you on Skype.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I wasn't just
Okay, because I was like, what the hell? Why did he just say Witcher?
Basically, Witcher 3 is an amazing port as long as you have an NVIDIA chip.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Hey, that's a good point.
If you have an AMD, the game can run like shit a lot.
Yes, it did. And I actually know why that was. NVIDIA Hairworks was a huge thing in that game, and AMD didn't have the tessellation capability at the time.
I know. Like, I will say one thing: they did like fix it a lot, like after launch, right? But it's still a good, like, back then it was a new game. You know what I mean? It was like maybe a month old when I made that video.
Right. And I'm gonna say from my memory, Batman Arkham Knight, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed Unity, and No Man's Sky are actually the only titles that I can think of in regards to titles that did not launch properly, and half of those ran like crap on the consoles as well.
No Man's Sky is a whole different story.
Well, no, I'm not talking about how the game failed. I'm talking about how it ran.
I know. I'm just saying, when you mentioned No Man's Sky, a lot of thoughts popped through my head. That was the biggest waste, one of the biggest waste of monies in my life. In my life.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yep.
They marketed it as a fucking as a AAA game. They charged $60 for it, and it was nothing better than an indie game, pretty much. It was an indie game, and it didn't really offer much. You got bored with it after a while. They said, "Oh, this is gonna last you a lifetime." There's fucking what was it, like 50 quintillion planets or some bullshit like that? Yeah, okay, fuck you. Seriously. You heard Sean. You heard what happened today, right?
No.
Hello Games made a tweet on Twitter saying this is the direct quote. No Man's Sky was a mistake. That's what they said on their Twitter. This is today.
Wow.
And then it got deleted and they said they got hacked. Of course, yeah, they got hacked.
It was a mistake. It was a huge mistake. And
because
a lot of people are
now
actually...
if they make another game, nobody's gonna buy it.
Nope. How do you feel?
Even if it's a good game, no one's gonna buy it because it left a bad taste in their mouth with No Man's Sky.
How do you feel about the idea? Because a lot of people have this idea that Sony was half the problem.
You mean that they rushed development?
Sony actually had a huge hand in a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
I know. That's why it wasn't on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Definitely. I guess Sony probably did rush it. I think what happened is that Sony got pissed off because No Man's Sky got delayed like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Sony was probably like, "Look, you can't delay this game anymore." It was probably the fans like pressuring them too, like not to delay the game anymore. But the thing is, if a game is that, it's not even that it's bad. You can have all the delays you want. I just think it would have turned out to be shit anyway because it just lacked so many features. The core gameplay just wasn't that good, Yeah. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it at all, and a lot of people didn't like it. I probably would have liked it a lot more if it was like $10, $20 instead of $60. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. But yeah, I definitely feel like Sony was probably partly responsible. Usually, when companies like fund part of the game and are involved with the development, they usually have a part to play. That's probably Activision's the reason why we've had 3-4 futuristic Call of Duties in a row. Mm-hmm. It's probably not Infinity Ward and Treyarch that decided to go futuristic. It's probably Activision. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah, so definitely they have a part to play. Yeah.
Your final point. We're on to the final point.
All right. Wow.
And I'm sure you actually remember what this point was. PCs have better graphics. That's it. PCs have better graphics. And you said in the video that it's not refutable because PCs...
Which I said a lot during this debate.
Right, you did. PCs do have the potential and the ability for better graphics. But you listed an article in this, and I'd actually like for you to take the wheel on this, actually, please.
Yeah, this is the one that I know exactly what you're talking about. Basically, PCs are more graphically powerful, but most people don't even get to utilize, how powerful PC gaming is because most PC gamers, at least half of them, don't even, run like at max settings or anything like that. A lot of them aren't even capable of running new games. So I think it's a bit misleading to be like, well, PC gaming is superior. Well, that's great. And a lot of PC gamers tend to talk about in the same breath, they talk about how a lot of people are on PC, and that's also an advantage. You can't have it both ways because a lot of PC gamers don't even use those advanced graphics that everyone talks about. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm going to say this. Firstly, the article that you had...
there was a new article that was released after that, right?
Okay,
just
good.
Put that out there.
I went and found that article. I did actually find it. There were no sources in that article to prove that the statements were true. But
it was a Steam survey, apparently.
Right. But they didn't have any sources to show where the Steam survey was or anything like that. And I don't know if it was written biasly. It kind of feels like it was. But what I said in the video was that the point of being a PC gamer is not having more advanced graphics. That's the one thing that everyone uses because that's the one thing that they know can't be refuted. But that's not the reason people go to PC. The reason people go to PC is the reasons I listed earlier when we were talking about freedoms. I listed a ton of stuff.
Yeah, no, that survey was actually released by Valve itself. Wasn't like a third-party survey.
Right. So even if it was true, what I was saying, graphics are the icing on the cake. But I have had at least 8 different times someone in my comments section tell me that they have a PC that they built in 2001 and they still outperform what consoles can do.
That's a load of shit.
How would you know?
That's a load of shit.
How would you know that?
How would you know that Bigfoot doesn't exist? How would you know that unicorns don't exist? Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, how many PCs have you built?
None.
Well, then how can you say that it's not possible?
It makes logical sense. That technology didn't exist back then.
I'll give that to you.
It didn't exist back then. So it makes no sense to
I'll give it to you. But the reason I brought it up is because when it comes down to it, if someone is playing on a system from 2001 and enjoying their experience, and obviously not having the graphical capability, like you said, that even this generation's consoles have,
right?
Then why in the world is that such a huge thing? Why is it that people always argue, and it's not on you, because a lot of PC elitos do it too, we have better graphics.
Well, they boast about graphics all the time, but they don't. They think that most people who play on PC, use the advanced graphics that But they think most PC gamers have PCs that are capable of being more powerful than consoles, which is just not true. You know what I mean?
And I hear that.
I think it's stupid to say, like, oh yeah, like we have, people like they try to argue that PC gaming is bigger than console gaming or whatever, but the same breath, like they talk about how most what am I trying to get at here? Fuck. No, but like basically they talk about the graphics and everything. It just doesn't make any sense to also brag about how you have more people when those people don't even use those graphics that you talk about.
See, I still have yet to see the survey that proves this, and even if it was true, like that doesn't even matter. The reason that I switched when I switched to PC, actually when I was on consoles, I was a graphics whore. Like, when I went from the GameCube to the Xbox, it was like, oh my god, this is amazing, to the 360. Oh my god, look at the graphics. I didn't care about anything else. But when I switched to PC, I started caring about frame rate and mechanics and gameplay. And the thing is, we aren't controlled. On PC, we're not locked or dictated to anything. And you can adjust your settings and your hardware. You choose. You have more options, more freedoms, and more decisions, and that is for you, the consumer. And that's why most people who go to PC, because they want more freedom as a consumer.
Yeah, EA can choose to pull all their games from Steam and make Origin.
That's true.
Origin I don't know about Origin now. Apparently, it's good, but at first it was a disaster.
It was garbage. It's pretty decent now.
But like most people only have Origin because they're forced to use it.
That's true.
It's not really freedom.
That as well is true, but if you're going to be extreme about it, which you're not, but I'm saying, like, if I hated Origin enough, if I hated EA enough, I have the ability to go pirate the game.
Okay.
I have the ability.
We're going back to the piracy.
To GOG. I have the ability to go get it DRM free. That's the thing, is Origin is not my only option. Even if they lock all their games to Origin, it's not my only option. Even if I wanted to be the worst, even if I wanted to be the worst, scummiest person and steal my games, that's still a freedom. I don't condone it, and I don't think it's right.
Well, you said it earlier, you can do it on the consoles.
You can.
You'll get fucking banned.
You did say that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it yourself. You can go on Pirate Bay and easily find
You
PS4
can.
games.
You can go on Pirate Bay and get the PS4 games.
The thing is, Sony has software that can detect that shit and fucking ban you.
Right.
That's what. Yeah, that's why less people pirate on the consoles than PC. Not because it's harder.
Because they're missing out on that freedom?
Because they're missing out on the freedom. Well, they're free enough to do it. It's just they'll get banned. You know what I mean?
Right. I do see what you mean.
So that way, like Sony and Microsoft doing that, having a locked platform, can like benefit the developers in that way compared to like PC where you could just do it without consequences. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of the reason why a lot of I'm not condoning it, but I think that's part of the reason why a lot of developers focus on the console versions and like the PC versions are like absolute shit.
Oh, why did you have to say that? It was almost over, because now that's not true. It's not always the case. Look, that's not always the case. It happens every so often, but again, the only games that I ever recall, I'm gonna list them all, the ones that I can remember: Black Ops 3, Assassin's Creed Unity, No Man's Sky, Forza 6 Apex I didn't like, but a lot of people did like it, and Arkham Knight. Did I say Arkham Knight already?
Yes, you did.
Watch Dogs. It was Watch Dogs.
I can think of a lot of last-gen games that were inferior to on the PC.
Please enlighten, please. I would like to know.
Well, back then it was mostly like Rockstar's improved, but back then, like last generation, Rockstar games were shitty on the PC.
They absolutely were.
GTA 4, LA Noire, even Saints Row 2. That's not Rockstar, but it was horrible on the PC and it was decent on the consoles. But I think like it was a lot worse last generation with games. But I think it's a different debate, like with last gen compared to current gen.
Well,
you know what I mean?
What's funny is if you look now and you play all those games that we've all listed, both of us combined, if you look at all those games on PC right now, they're running better than consoles. As of right now, Batman Arkham Knight runs better than it does on the consoles. It didn't at launch, but it does now. No Man's Sky doesn't, but it's a load of crap, like you said. Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity, Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs even looks better with a what is that? E3 mod. With an E3 mod that makes it look like the game that it was supposed to look like.
I know what you're saying, but the thing about a game, if it's shitty at launch, it leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth like forever.
It definitely
does.
What I mean? And I've actually said before that if a game comes out and it's broken, I won't purchase it.
I'm sure you're aware of what happened with Battlefield 4 when it came out.
No.
Complete buggy mess. The multiplayer was unplayable, and it was like that for a month.
Crap.
It's good now, but if you got it at launch, like I'm sure there are people who are still not playing it because of that incident.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree. I wouldn't do it either. I would not do it either.
Yeah, I mean, like you talk about now, like good, like they should fix it, but it still leaves a bad taste. Like if the launch is bad, like the launch is the most important part of a game cycle, of a game's life cycle, because the launch is pretty much it's the first impression. If the first impression is shitty, then it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. Like I played Grand Theft Auto Online the first time I played it, it was a complete mess, it was horrible. This was like 3 years ago. And I stopped playing it for a while because what happened, like, I was able to deal with the lag and the buggy mess or whatever, but actually I was level like 30 and they deleted my character from the servers. It was just deleted. So I stopped playing for a while because I had to start all over. Like, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth when games launch and they're a complete mess.
Right. However, with that point you just made, of the games that we both why in the world did I just lose my train of thought? Of the games that we just talked about,
like Watch Dogs, Arkham Knight,
half of them came out buggy on the console as well. So when you say
you could say it was worse on the PC though. Watch Dogs.
Well, it was, but when you say
and Arkham Knight was worse on the PC,
these games always come out buggy on the PC. Why is it that nobody talks about the ones that come out buggy on the console? Why is that?
Because it's buggier on the PC, usually.
Or
those games we discussed.
Or
buggy.
It could be that. Or it's that when you're a PC gamer who built their own machine, took pride in what they built, and watched it come to life, you know what its specs are and you know what it's supposed to be able to do, you feel that much worse when it doesn't operate the way it should. You have a vendetta with that developer now. Whereas if a console messes up, you don't particularly care and you know it'll be fixed. We don't like that much. That's anti-consumer, and we especially hate that. Because we know what this industry is, and I'm sure you do as well. You seem very keen to the industry.
Yeah, I think that's probably something both console gamers and PC gamers can agree on. If a game is shitty at launch, and you can't support that shit.
No,
because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of fanboys, PC and console alike. There are a lot of EA fanboys. And other fanboys from other games. Like when a game launches and it's buggy, it's like, oh well, it just came out. It just wait till they fix it. Yeah, I hate those people so much because they're contributing to the reason why gaming is so shitty right now.
Definitely,
they're the ones contributing to it. It's not the evil corporations, because I mean, if they weren't making money doing this evil shit, then they wouldn't do it. Why do you think EA's improving their image? Why do you think Microsoft's improving their image? Because they make more money that way. If Microsoft made more money with the DRM and all that bullshit, they would have had that.
God, that DRM. Don't even say it out loud. Like, it's awful. Games for Windows Live. Oh, I just gave everyone a heart attack. A heart attack. Did you ever use that?
I never used it, but I remember when it was still like a service.
My God.
Pretty much like supposed to be like Xbox Live on the PC, right?
No. Oh, God.
It was worse, right?
I had to use it. I had to. And I actually am still to this day locked out of Dead Rising 2. I'm locked out because when I made my Xbox account, I never put in my age. So the game couldn't verify that I was of age to play the game.
Oh, God.
That's what Games for Windows Live does. That was a horrible service. Hated it. And it absorbed itself to Dark Souls, to Dead Rising, all these games that I'm so glad. But you know what? That's one thing
I will give the PC gamers credit for. They said, fuck you, when they tried to charge like $50 a year, so then they made it free, and then they said, fuck you again when the service was shitty, and that's why Games for Windows Live doesn't exist anymore. I think that's one thing console gamers need to take note from PC gamers for. They need to be more, they need to be more pro-consumer. I think PC gamers are more like pro-consumer in general, compared to console gamers, because console gamers just like take it in the ass and they don't give a fuck. PC gamers they only take it in the ass if it's Gabe Newell. Otherwise, they don't like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess that's it, right?
That's all the points. That was it. That was everything.
All right, so let's look at the timer. The debate happened. Let's see. I've been streaming for 2 hours and 56
minutes.
Crazy, absolutely insane.
Well, I mean, I'm so fun to talk to. I mean,
yeah, so am I, obviously.
Obviously, right.
Okay, so basically, I guess we can make some closing statements. I guess.
Sure.
You can start off.
This was the first ever console versus PC debate. I want to apologize. I saw a lot of people in the chat, at least a few, saying that this was one of those regressive kind of debates. And I will actually say that a debate versus console and PC is very petty. But one thing that is very cool is that two people, be it PC elitist or console peasant, can come together, which either of us are not, can come together and talk about something that they are passionate about and not blow up at each other. And I think this was a very excellently healthy debate, and I'm glad we had the ability to do this.
Yeah, I agree. It got heated a few times, but we never actually traded personal insults against each other. Like, I didn't call you a fraud. I didn't call you a liar. I didn't like some other people would say.
Oh my God!
But this was very civil. Like,
yes.
I'm actually very satisfied with the outcome of the debate. Obviously, no matter what, people are gonna say Barry won, which is fine. I don't care. But I was glad to have this debate because I think it was. I think I had fun. I mean, maybe in hindsight, I would try not to be on the phone with someone for 4 hours at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
That random person on the internet. But you know, it was still fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. It was very civil.
I definitely agree. And one thing I want to say is, if you out there, anyone who's listening right now, regardless as to whether you're watching my channel or Mr. Noobtube's, when it comes down to it, if you have an opinion or a very, very strong belief that you hold very close and personally, I want you to think about what happened here. Because when it comes down to it, a lot of people thought that Mr. Noobtubegamer was so absorbed into his own beliefs that he would never, ever have a debate like this. This only causes progression. Whether Mr. Noobtubegamer or myself decide we want to be a PC gamer or a console gamer, would be what helped. Instead of, like you said, jumping down each other's throat and trying to kill each other, that is something that makes people only crawl back further into their beliefs. And this really opens up everyone's eyes. So regardless as to what you believe, a tiny little petty debate, PC versus console, or a big debate, God versus atheism, it's all important that we talk to each other openly about it, because it only progresses us further. So thank you guys.
Yeah, it was a good debate. So I guess with that said, I guess we're gonna end it right here, right? Nothing else to really say. We covered everything, right?
We did.
So we appreciate you guys for tuning in on both channels. I'm sorry that my stream was shitty. That's because I was running OBS 2 fucking times, and it fucking made the shit lag. Hopefully, when the replay won't be too bad, because we'll see. But anyway, I'm gonna thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.
See you later.
Thank you.